Chapter 96. The few demonic cultivators were immobilized in the void. The spatial force that only a Paradise Realm cultivator could master was not something that these Golden Core Realm cultivators could break free from. They were all terrified. Without saying a word, Chu Kuangren raised his hand and unleashed the gluttonous devouring technique. In an instant, the few of them were sucked into the avarice dimension, enduring the extreme pain of having their flesh and blood refined. Their screams echoed continuously. Whoosh! Lan Yu flapped her wings from afar, her body still emitting a cold, murderous aura. Master, the others have been dealt with. All right, let's go. Chu Kuangren nodded. Thank you, Immortal. Thank you. Behind him, countless people's voices of gratitude could be heard. Chu Kuangren did not look back. Ever since he stepped into the northern Lingdao state, he had seen or experienced too many similar scenes. After leaving the village, Chu Kuangren continued to walk towards the center of the northern Lingdao state where the sky prides of the major sage orthodoxies were gathered. However, what Chu Kuangren found strange was, along the way, what he saw were mostly mortals wailing and the scenes of demonic cultivators running wild. As for the sage orthodoxies saving the world, it was very rare. Did they not agree to launch a demonic extermination operation? Did they not say that the major sage orthodoxies would send their people here? Or were they? Where the hell did they go? Chu Kuangren did not ask the seventh forefather or the other protectors because he already had some guesses in his mind. In a city of the northern Lingdao state, a group of demonic cultivators was wantonly plundering, killing, and looting resources. The streets were filled with wails and cries. For a single spirit stone, there were demonic path cultivators that killed a peddler's entire family. For the sake of venting their bestial desires, they would forcefully abduct women. For the sake of refining a demonic artifact, they would extract the souls of mortals and torture them to death. One city, one hell. Meanwhile, Nangong Huang was leading a group of people to defend against this group of people. With a swing of the sacred sword, Taoist rhymes filled the air, and a sword ray like a waterfall streaked across the void, instantly tearing a demonic cultivator in half. No, there are too many of them. Nangong Huang's expression was grim. There were too many demonic cultivators, and they were not enough. Damn it, those orthodoxies aren't sending anyone. How are we enough? Murong Xian came to Nangong Huang's side and said, Damn it, even if the people from the Limitless Demon sect are still alive, it is impossible for them to develop so many people under the suppression of several great orthodoxies. This is not just the Limitless Demon sect, there are also cultivators from other demonic sects. The Limitless Demon Venerable's treasure is truly tempting. At this moment, suddenly, a large amount of sword chi condensed in the sky, forming 12 sword chi pillars. Runes revolved around them, actually sealing off the entire city. What kind of power is this? Who is it? In the face of this power, all the cultivators there felt a terrifying and boundless pressure bearing down on them. Some of the demonic cultivators were even more horrified. Nangong Huang and Murong Xian looked at each other, their eyes filled with joy. 9 Heavensword Prison, this is eldest senior brother. Great, eldest senior brother is here. A white-robed figure stepped out from the clouds. He looked coldly at the demonic cultivators stirring up trouble in the city and shouted, Die! In the blink of an eye, countless sword chi crisscrossed through the 9 Heavensword Prison and accurately pinpointed those demonic cultivators, killing them one by one. The demonic cultivators who were originally excited and immersed in the joy of killing felt the fear of death and screamed out loud. Oh no! D***minute, who the hell is he? Boom! A hunchbacked old man broke free from the 9 Heavensword Prison's suppression, channeled his spiritual power, and charged towards Chu Kuangren who was in the air. Go to hell! He blasted out a palm attack that turned into a horrifying giant black hand. That was a full-powered attack from a peak battle monarch. At the end of the street, a black-haired man also broke free from the sword prison's suppression. He waved a large sword and slashed out a sword chi. This is a sword physique transformation. If we don't kill this person, we won't be able to leave. Wretched whale technique. Go. On the other side, a white-haired old woman laughed sinisterly and channeled her spiritual power. A black mist rolled in front of her, forming a giant skull that attacked Chu Kuangren, who was in the air. 3 peak battle monarch energies instantly locked onto Chu Kuangren. In the city, the demonic cultivators were extremely excited. It's the Ghost Granny, the Blood-Devouring Blade, and the Een Mountain Elder. These 3 are famous cultivators in the demonic orthodoxy. That's great, they'll definitely be able to kill this guy. That's right, we're saved. A brat like him won't be able to stop us. In mid-air, Chu Kuangren's expression was incomparably cold in the face of the 3 great demonic orthodoxies' encirclement. However, an extremely mysterious Taoist rhyme suddenly emanated from his body and formed white lotuses in the void. The white lotuses surrounded the void, making Chu Kuangren look even more holy. When the 3 energies landed on the white lotuses, there was no earth-shattering explosion. Instead, the violent energies were disintegrated and dispersed by the white lotus light of purification. In the void, it dissipated like a spring breeze. Even an honorable could not break through the white lotus light of purification's defense, let alone these battle monarch demonic cultivators. How is this possible? How did he do it? What technique is this? The 3 demonic cultivators' pupils shrank. No run. The black-haired man knew that he and the others were no match for Chu Kuangren, so he immediately turned around and fled. However, he had nowhere to run in the 9 Heaven Sword prison. Chu Kuangren looked up and the Descendant Self Sword appeared in his hand. With a wave of his hand, a purple sword ray suddenly erupted and slashed across the sky. The sword ray was extremely swift and domineering. The black-haired man turned around and used his sword to block the attack. However, all that was heard was a clang, and the man and his sword were sliced in half. A sword attack that killed a peak battle monarch. This kind of earth-shattering battle prowess frightened all the demonic cultivators. It also made the Black Heaven sect disciples extremely excited. Elder's senior brother is so strong. It's been a while since we last met, but Elder's senior brother has improved by leaps and bounds. Another 2 sword attacks were unleashed. The Ghost Granny and the Een Mountain Elder were also killed in an instant. If that was the case for the 3 of them, then the rest of the demonic cultivators were even worse off. Within the 9 Heaven Sword prison, Sword Chi flew around and killed all the demonic cultivators. Cries of agony could be heard as demonic blood dyed the streets red. The people did not feel any sympathy for the demonic cultivators. Instead, their eyes were filled with unforgettable hatred. They could not wait to kill these demonic cultivators who harmed their families and friends with their own hands. A moment later, all the demonic cultivators in the city were killed by Chu Kuangren. Elder's senior brother. Nangong Huang walked up to Chu Kuangren. Why are you guys the only ones here? Where are the others? They're all in the Mountain River City. The demonic cultivators are wreaking havoc in the world. Why aren't they here? Didn't they say that they're going to start a demonic extermination operation? Chu Kuangren said coldly. Nangong Huang, Mrong Xian, and the others looked at each other with anger in their eyes. They're busy enjoying themselves now. They don't have time to deal with this. What's going on? They think that the northern Lingdao state is not chaotic enough. If they attack now, they'll only gain limited prestige. They're waiting for the demonic onslaught to get bigger before they attack. A bunch of B***stards. Murong Xian said angrily. Chu Kuangren was not surprised at all when he heard that. He sighed in his heart. As expected. 7th Forefather, when the demonic Vow sect was wreaking havoc a few thousand years ago, did the other sage orthodoxies do the same? Chapter 97. Cultivators and Mortals. These were 2 distinct groups with clear boundaries. Cultivators possessed powers that mortals could never hope to achieve, and they were high above the masses. In the eyes of mortals, cultivators were no different from immortals. Naturally, cultivators would develop a sense of superiority. To most cultivators, the lives of mortals were not worth mentioning. If it were not for the invisible constraints of karma, and luck, most cultivators would not be any better off than demonic cultivators. Just like now. A few sage orthodoxies wanted to use this demonic onslaught to increase their prestige, gain merit, and luck. Hence, the more violent the demonic onslaught was, the more benefits they would receive after dealing with it. As for how many people would die in the process, they did not really care. After all, it was not their doing. Upon hearing Chu Kuangren's question, the seventh forefather fell silent for a while before he sighed. Indeed, there are many cultivators like this in the sage orthodoxies. Chu Kuangren nodded. I understand. The Mountain River City was where the Mountain River sect used to be. After the Mountain River sect was destroyed, the city was plunged into chaos. It was only after a few sage orthodoxies joined forces and temporarily took over the city that the situation started to improve. At this time, in a restaurant in the city, people were singing and dancing, and the sound of toasts and drinks could be heard. On the contrary, outside the restaurant, there were many people who had lost their homes, clothes, and food due to the demonic onslaught. Come Li Ren, propose a toast to all the sky prides here. During the demonic onslaught, all of you are willing to step forward and save the people. You are truly righteous. At the banquet, a middle-aged man in luxurious robes raised his cup and smiled. In front of him were the sky prides from Jiang Valley, the sacred lands of serene wisdom, and the Five Ways sect. You're too kind, Li family head. It's our duty to eliminate demons and protect the righteous path. Fang Tian of the Five Ways sect said righteously. Those who did not know better would think that he had killed many demonic cultivators and saved many people. You're right, Fang'en. Li family head smiled and nodded. He then hesitated before he said, this demonic onslaught has been going on for 7 days now. I wonder when everyone plans to take action. If this goes on, I'm afraid the northern Lingdao state will not be able to hold on any longer. Li family head was cursing in his heart when he said that. This group of so-called heaven's favorites had been in the Mountain River City for a few days, but they did not contribute much. Instead, they ate, drank, and played around. Let's wait for a few more days. Right now, it's not just the people of the Limitless Demon sect who are here, there are also a large number of other demonic cultivators. But when these people are almost here, I'll capture them all in one fell swoop. Gu Chang'e drank a glass of wine and said indifferently, that's right. There's something fishy about the appearance of the demonic cultivators this time. We heard that these people are looking for the sage ruler weapon of the limitless demonic honorable. It won't be too late for us to act after they find it. Lin Badian said. Over the past few days, they had found out that the limitless demon venerable had not come back to life. The ones who had destroyed the Mountain River sect were a youth who resembled the limitless demon venerable and a mysterious old man. The two of them were after the sage ruler weapon that the limitless demon venerable used to dominate the world. The news spread quickly among the demonic cultivators, causing all the demonic cultivators in the Azure Dragon domain to rush to the northern Lingdao state. TSK, the sage ruler weapon, the demonic spear of apocalypse. The limitless demon venerable was so powerful that he could defeat a sage. But after the death of the limitless demon venerable, the spear's whereabouts were unknown. I can't believe it's hidden in the northern Lingdao state. The White Lotus bachelor's eyes were burning with excitement. That was a sage ruler weapon. It was much more powerful than the average sage weapon. A sage weapon was enough to make countless cultivators go crazy for it, let alone a sage ruler weapon. At the banquet, the Sky Prides were talking about how powerful the sage ruler weapon was, but none of them said anything about sending troops. Li family head saw this and was anxious. Let me in. At that moment, a young man rushed in and looked at the Sky Prides at the banquet angrily. The Taoist of the Mountain River sect? Oh, what's the matter? Gu Chang'e glanced at him and said coldly. The young man was the only surviving Taoist from the Mountain River sect. He looked at the table full of delicacies and wine in front of him and said while suppressing his anger, I'm here to ask you guys, when are you going to attack? Taoist, don't worry. We'll attack when it's time. When it's time to attack. When most of the people in the northern Lingdao state are dead. The Mountain River Taoist asked. How dare you? Don't forget that the northern Lingdao state was reduced to this state because of the Mountain River sect's incompetence. We're here to help you clean up the mess, And this is how you treat us? A Taoist from the sacred lands of serene wisdom snorted. The mountain river Taoist's face turned green. It's the mountain river sect's incompetence that allowed the demonic onslaught to spread. But you guys just sit back and watch the people die and the people lose their homes. You're a sage orthodoxy. What a joke. We didn't care about this and let the northern Lingdao state perish on its own. Now that we're here, not only are you not grateful, you even dare to question us here. Don't you think that's too much? You're the ones who are too much. For the past few days, the mountain river city has done its best to entertain you. The Li family, the Wang family, the Zhang family, and the other aristocratic families have sacrificed all of their wealth to beg for your help. But what have you been doing? You've received the benefits but you've done nothing? You're worse than the common peddlers in the mortal world. What demonic extermination mission? It's all a joke. The mountain river Taoist gritted his teeth as he glared at the sky prides before him. His anger was about to overflow. Mountain river Taoist, please understand the situation. If you provoke us, the longer we wait, the more people will die in the northern Lingdao state. Every word you say now concerns the lives of millions of people. Are you sure you want to continue? Xianxia said calmly, her eyes turning cold. You're threatening me. The mountain river Taoist's face darkened. So what if I am? At this point, the sky prides could not be bothered to pretend to be gentlemen anymore. They looked at the mountain river Taoist with a mocking expression. Clap, clap, clap. At that moment, a round of applause rang out. Outside the room, a white-robed young man slowly walked in with a few people. The sky pride's expressions changed when they saw him. They could no longer sit still and stood up to stare at the newcomer. Chu Kuangren. It's Chu Kuangren, he's here. Chu Kuangren walked into the room and glanced at the people there. He smiled and said, You guys seem to be in a good mood. You're still having a banquet, and the food looks pretty good. It's much better than the beggars I saw when I first came in. They are miserable. They don't have enough to eat, and they don't even have a complete set of clothes, unlike you guys who are wearing silk and satin clothes. TSK, this dog looks a bit like a human in these clothes. Xianxia and the others' expressions changed when they heard that. How could they not understand that Chu Kuangren was indirectly calling them dogs? Chu Kuangren, don't be too presumptuous. One of the sky prides said coldly. However, Chu Kuangren did not even spare him a glance. Instead, he slapped the air and a terrifying spiritual power landed on that sky pride's head. Chapter 98. Chu Kuangren attacked without warning, scaring many people at the scene. Everyone stared at him with fear in their eyes. Chu Kuangren, how dare you hit me? The sky pride who was slapped stood up and roared in anger. So what if I hit you? Do you have to pick a day? Chu Kuangren said indifferently before he gave him another backhand slap. This slap sent him flying out of the restaurant. The mountain river Taoist, Li family head, and the others looked at Chu Kuangren in shock. That was a Taoist from a sage orthodoxy? How could he just slap him like that? However, they had to admit that it was so satisfying. Chu Kuangren, what are you trying to do? Xianxia asked coldly. Nothing much. I'm here today to inform you that from now on, I'm temporarily taking over the mountain river city. But you think you can take over just because you say so? I've said it before. I'm only here to inform you. I don't need your permission, Chu Kuangren said. Chu Kuangren, do you think you can do whatever you want just because you're strong? Without our people, how are you going to take over the mountain river city? Xianxia smiled in disdain. Suddenly, the communication compass in his yin and yang ring vibrated. He took it out and a message was sent. All cultivators heading to the northern Lingdao state, listen to Chu Kuangren's orders. The royal Azure dynasty ruler's voice came from the communication compass. Xianxia's expression changed when he heard that. Not only him, but the White Lotus bachelor sage beside him also received the same message. I'm the fiancé of the royal Azure dynasty and the bachelor sage of the school of White Lotus. I'll take over your people as well. Chu Kuangren glanced at them before he turned around and left. Chu Kuangren. Xianxia gritted his teeth as he watched Chu Kuangren leave. At the banquet, Li family head looked at the scene thoughtfully. Then he wisely chose to give up on Guchanga and the others and followed Chu Kuangren. On the street, Li family head caught up to Chu Kuangren. Brother Chu, I'm the Mountain River City Li family head. May I know when you're going to send your people? I've sent cultivators from the Black Heaven sect, the School of White Lotus, and the Royal Azure Dynasty to eliminate the demonic onslaught. That's fast. Li family head was overjoyed. Finally, a reliable prodigy had arrived. He had heard many rumors about Chu Kuangren, so he knew that if Chu Kuangren truly wanted to save the entire state, he would be much more useful than Guchanga and the others. The Li family is at fellow Taoist Chu's disposal. Patriarch Li immediately expressed his attitude. In this world, there were many cultivators who viewed mortals as weeds, but there were also cultivators who rose up from weeds and viewed mortals as equals. The Li family was one such family of cultivators. Brother Chu is kind-hearted, much better than Guchanga and those so-called heaven's favorites, the Mountain River Taoist said. It's just something that's within my power. To Chu Kuangren, the lives of mortals were also lives. Immortals were also humans. The path of cultivation that he wanted to walk was not the merciless path that treated human lives as grass and all living beings as ants. Naturally, he would not ignore the demonic plague. On my way here, I heard that all the demonic cultivators in northern Lingdao are looking for a sage ruler weapon. Can you tell me more about it? Chu Kuangren thought of something and asked. Of course. The Mountain River Taoist and Patriarch Li told Chu Kuangren a lot, especially the Mountain River Taoist, whose eyes were filled with hatred when he spoke. Before the Supreme Demonic Honorable died, he left behind a sage ruler weapon, the demonic spear of Apocalypse. Rumor has it that this demonic spear appeared in northern Lingdao 2,000 years ago, but it was sealed by the forefather of my Mountain River sect. And that's why our Mountain River sect is facing such a calamity. The Mountain River Taoist clenched his fists and said, Do you know where this spear is? I don't know. That spear was sealed by our forefather, so no one knows where it is except for him. Besides, our forefather has passed away a long time ago. Does that mean no one knows where it is? Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded thoughtfully. The next day, Chu Kuangren took over the Mountain River City. He ordered the Li family and the other families to open up the city and take in the refugees from all over. In an instant, the Mountain River City was filled with refugee camps. This move also displeased a few cultivators from the sage orthodoxies. Every time they walked on the streets, they would see refugees dressed in rags and smelly. How could they, who had been living a comfortable life, tolerate that? Boom! A few terrifying auras came from outside Chu Kuangren's courtyard. The Five Ways sect, the Jiang Valley, the Dharma sect, the Taishu Temple, the Sacred Lands of Serene Wisdom, and a few other scattered sky prides had all arrived. Chu Kuangren, come out. Fang Tian of the Five Ways sect yelled. With a creak, the door opened. However, before anyone could see who it was, a dense Taoist rime erupted and a white ray of light shot out. Fang Tian's pupils shrank as he hurriedly activated his Five Ways Taoist Tao and unleashed a dazzling spiritual power. When the two energies collided, Fang Tian was forcefully pushed back a few meters, and his face turned pale. A figure walked out from the courtyard. It was Lan Yu. She glanced at the crowd coldly. You guys are too noisy. Why are you barking so early in the morning? Can't you guys let us rest? Chu Kuangren also walked out. Chu Kuangren, now that there are so many refugees in the Mountain River City, how are we supposed to move around? You must give us an explanation. Fang Tian said coldly. Move around? What kind of move do you guys want? Do you want to host a banquet in a restaurant, or do you want to go to a brothel? Chu Kuangren sneered as he swept his cold gaze across the cultivators. No matter what, you've gone too far by letting so many refugees into the city. There's a lot of empty land outside the city, why don't you let them stay there? Yuan Hong suggested. Looks like you guys are used to living like princes here. Have you guys seen the situation outside? Demonic cultivators and beasts are everywhere. Letting them stay outside is no different from sending them to their deaths. Chu Kuangren sneered. So what? It's just a few people dying. When the time comes, we'll naturally take action to eradicate the demonic onslaught. That's right, Chu Kuangren. You must let these refugees leave the city today. Otherwise, we won't take action against this demonic onslaught. That's right. Do you really think you can do it alone? The group of Sky Prides said. Chu Kuangren only felt that it was ridiculous. Were these cultivators really here to eradicate the demonic onslaught? Even without you guys, I can still eradicate the demonic onslaught, Chu Kuangren said in a firm tone. With a flick of his sleeves, a violent surge of sword chi gushed out and blasted the group of cultivators in front of him a few dozen feet away. Now all of you scram. Chu Kuangren, you really think you're invincible? We'll fight you. A few of the Sky Prides made their moves. They had heard all kinds of rumors about Chu Kuangren, but that was just that. Today, they wanted to test his capabilities. Not good. No. Yuan Hong, Fang Tian, and a few other Sky Prides who had witnessed Chu Kuangren's capabilities immediately wanted to stop him. They came here to demand an explanation, but they had never thought of fighting him. After all, Chu Kuangren's strength was already deeply engraved in their hearts. However, they were one step too late. The few Sky Prides rushed in front of Chu Kuangren. Their Taoist rhymes and violent spiritual power surged out in unison. However, when Chu Kuangren looked up, the few of them were instantly frozen in midair. The Taoist techniques that they had cast were instantly dispersed. Chapter 99. Does anyone else have a problem with me? Chu Kuangren said coldly. After killing a few prodigies, the crowd kept quiet out of fear. At that moment, a ripple appeared in the void, and a few peak battle monarchs charged out, glaring at Chu Kuangren. Aren't you a little too cruel? You killed someone just because you didn't agree with them. How are you any different from a devil cultivator? Chu Kuangren, you've crossed the line. These battle kings were the protectors of those geniuses. A battle monarch-level protector meant that the power behind these geniuses was at most an honorable orthodoxy. Chu Kuangren sneered. Brutal? Let's be clear, they were the ones who attacked first, and they didn't hold back. How can I not fight back? If you're not convinced, you can make a move as well. Chu Kuangren did not back down in the face of a few battle monarchs. After all, he had killed quite a number of battle monarchs along the way. The few battle monarchs wore gloomy expressions, but they did not make a move. They were not afraid of Chu Kuangren, but the Taoist protector behind him was not someone they could fight against. The Tao protector wouldn't easily intervene in the affairs of the younger generation, but if they bullied the young, the Tao protector wouldn't just sit back and watch. In fact, these people were thinking too much. Even if they did, the seventh forefather and the others would not do anything. That was because they knew how terrifying Chu Kuangren's combat strength was now. If he could even kill an honorable, what more a few battle monarchs? In the end, none of the battle monarchs made a move. Chu Kuangren, you're still as arrogant as ever. At that moment, Lin Badian from the Jiang Valley spoke with a cold look on his face. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and was surprised to see that he had a head full of purple hair. Oh, where did you get your hair made from? Oomph. Lin Ban harumphed coldly as a terrifying Taoist rhyme exuded from his body, causing the Sky Prides at the scene to turn pale. Fang Tian, Gu Chang'e, and the others looked at Lin Badian in shock. How did his Taoist rhyme change? Such a powerful aura. What's going on? How did he become so terrifying in such a short period of time? Even supremacies might not be able to compare to this Taoist aura. Chu Kuangren chuckled. It's only been a few days since we last met, but it seems like you've mastered some decent techniques. No wonder you have the confidence to face me directly. Runes circulated in his eyes as he activated the Eye of Revelation. Lin Badian, Violet Sun Valley Taoist. Control the sacred fire left behind by the ancestor of Ziyang Valley, Holy Flame? Was this a technique left behind by a saint? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Come, let me see how powerful this so-called sacred flame of yours is. Let's see if it can even hurt me. Lin Badian frowned. He did not know how Chu Kuangren knew about the sacred flame, but he could not wait to spar with him. Streaks of rainbow-colored flames emerged from his body, each of which contained the power to burn rivers and boil seas. Chu Kuangren, I have to endure the pain of being burned by 10,000 flames. I risked my life to obtain the seven-colored sacred flame. Today, I'll let you try its power. Lin Batin roared as the seven-colored sacred flame shot out like a meteor, distorting the space in its path. When everyone felt the power of the sacred flame, their expressions changed and they quickly retreated, afraid that they would be affected by it. The flame was too terrifying. The sacred flame was an item left behind by a sage, so it contained the sage's Taoist rhymes. Even if Lin Baishan's cultivation level was not high enough to fully utilize it, just a wisp of it was enough to rival an honorable. Chu Kuangren gently raised his hand, and a vast and boundless power instantly erupted. The mysterious Taoist rhymes formed white lotuses in the air. The white lotuses were beautiful and looked delicate, but the sacred flame could not break through them. In less than a breath's time, the sacred flame had disintegrated into nothingness. That scene shocked many sky prides. What technique is that? It can dispel spiritual power. How did he do that? He can even dispel the power of the sacred flame. The crowd was shocked. Among the crowd, the White Lotus Bachelor Sage took a deep breath. That's the supreme sage ruler technique of the school of White Lotus, the White Lotus light of purification. The crowd was shocked. How did Chu Kuangren learn the school of White Lotus sage ruler technique? Why had no one from the school of White Lotus used that technique before? Was that the reason Chu Kuangren was named a bachelor sage? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage did not say much. He looked at Chu Kuangren, who was surrounded by white lotuses, and felt a sense of worship. That was the instinctive reaction of the school of White Lotus disciples to the White Lotus light of purification. No matter how displeased he was, Chu Kuangren could not resist it. I'd like to see how many attacks you can take. Lin Batin snorted and continued to attack Chu Kuangren with his sacred flame. However, no matter how he attacked, his sacred flame would disintegrate within 10 feet of Chu Kuangren. It could not hurt Chu Kuangren at all. Lin Batin began to panic. How could this be? The sacred flame that he had risked his life to master was useless against Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren's strength had far exceeded his imagination. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe you're truly invincible. Lin Batin roared as he channeled all of his spiritual power into the sacred flame. An incredibly violent surge of Taoist rhyme erupted. Sage technique, Heavenly Blaze Prairie. The sacred flame around Lin Batin condensed into one and surged towards Chu Kuangren. That surge of energy finally broke through the 10-feet radius around Chu Kuangren. 10 feet, 90 feet. However, at 90 feet, the sacred flame still dissipated. Everyone, including Lin Batin himself, was dumbfounded. Lin Batin had risked his life to advance only 10 feet, but Chu Kuangren had not moved a single step since the beginning. The gap between them was just too huge. Lin Baishan's Taoist core was shaken, and his face was pale as he stared at Chu Kuangren. He felt like there was a mountain pressing against his chest, and he could barely breathe. He had thought that he could close the gap between him and Chu Kuangren by obtaining the sacred flame, and it was not impossible for him to fight Chu Kuangren. However, what was going on? Chu Kuangren could crush him just by standing there. The gap between their strengths made him feel hopeless. Lin Batin was not the only one who felt hopeless. The other Sky Prides felt the same way too. It's my turn now. Chu Kuangren glanced at Lin Batin before he raised his arm and unleashed a sword chi. The purple sword ray was so powerful that even though Lin Batin had used all of his strength to block it, he was still sent flying hundreds of feet away. The violent sword chi that dispersed from the attack even left dozens of bloody wounds on his body. Lin Batin was defeated with a single sword attack. Everyone fell silent when they saw that. Everyone else had worked themselves to the bone and could not even hurt a single hair on Chu Kuangren's body, yet Chu Kuangren could injure his opponent with a single sword attack. Unparalleled defense and unparalleled attack. It was simply unbeatable. Chu Kuangren, you're really strong. At that moment, a ray of light came from afar and landed in front of everyone. That person was wearing a black robe and a powerful aura emanated from his body. It was extremely domineering. It's him, the newly appointed Taoist of the sacred lands of serene wisdom, Ao Chang. Someone recognized that person. Chapter 100. Chu Kuangren had heard some rumors about the ancient sky prides. According to legend, it had been 150,000 years since the near ancient era. This was an era where the emperor's path had been severed and the great Tao had not appeared. Countless heaven's prides were unable to become emperors. Therefore, some heaven's prides chose to seal themselves and hibernate, waiting for the great battle to arrive before awakening. It was obvious that Ao Chang was an ancient sky pride. Interesting. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. How much stronger would a sky pride from the ancient times be compared to a present-day sky pride? As he used his eye of revelation to analyze further, Chu Kuangren realized that Ao Chang's combat strength was much stronger than a young emperor like Lei Ao. He even mastered 3 sage ruler techniques, which was extremely powerful. Chu Kuangren, I've always wanted to meet you. Being stared at by Chu Kuangren, Ao Chang did not know why, but he had a feeling that he was being seen through. He was very upset, so he channeled his spiritual power and released a powerful Taoist rhyme. He raised his hand, and the surrounding void shook. It was as if a boulder had been thrown into a lake, creating huge waves. The terrifying might made one's scalp go numb. A young emperor? He's definitely a young emperor-level genius. No, he might even be stronger than the average young emperor. F***ck me, there are only 8 young emperors in this world, but why are there so many young emperors popping up recently? The world of great battles is indeed extraordinary. In the face of Ao Chang's domineering aura, Chu Kuangren was very calm. He even hooked his finger at the other party, obviously provoking him. Upon seeing that, Ao Chang could no longer hold himself back. His Taoist rhymes erupted and his spiritual power surged as he threw a punch at Chu Kuangren. The violent spiritual power and Taoist rhymes formed an extremely terrifying grand sun in the void. It was extremely firm and domineering. Sage ruler magic, sunfall. The void rumbled. The great sun fist landed on the white lotuses in the sky. The terrifying spiritual energy impacted the white lotuses, while the white lotuses continued to break down the great sun fist. The 2 Taoist rhymes continued to collide with each other, creating a dazzling scene. However, just like Lin Baishan's Saint Flame, Ao Chang's punch was only able to disintegrate the white lotus before it was purified. Chu Kuangren remained standing where he was, calm and unruffled. The ancient geniuses are only SOSO. Chu Kuangren shook his head and said disappointedly, "This white lotus has such a strong defense." Ao Chang's pupils shrank. He was surprised and his eyes turned serious. He had thought that in this era, there were no sky prides worthy of his attention, not even the young emperors. However, Chu Kuangren was different. This was definitely a formidable opponent. Ao Chang pondered for a while before he chuckled. "Chu Kuangren, since you know that I'm an ancient sky pride, then you should also know that this era of great battles is not prepared for you. It's for us. The prodigies of your era are too weak. When the ancient sky prides awaken one by one, that will be the true beginning of the era of great battles. Chu Kuangren, when that time comes, I'll fight you again." Ao Chang's words shocked all the sky prides present. This was a world of great competition. They were fortunate to be born in this era, but unfortunately, this era wasn't prepared for them. This was truly too despairing. After saying that, Ao Chang turned around to leave. However, Chu Kuangren suddenly said, "Wait. Oh, do you want to fight again? I don't think it's appropriate for you to punch me just now. I should return the favor, so I think I should return the favor." Chu Kuangren lifted his gaze slightly with the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand. Then, he raised his arm and slashed out with the Descendant Self-Sword. A dazzling purple sword ray erupted like a flood. That sword attack could devour the heavens and the earth, as if it could destroy everything in its path. Not good. Sage ruler technique, divine mountain shield. Ao Chang's expression changed slightly. Then, he channeled the spiritual power within his body and a mysterious Taoist rhyme appeared, forming a majestic godly mountain in front of him. The thick godly mountain had top-notch defensive capabilities. However, when that sword attack landed on the godly mountain, the void shook violently. The impact from the collision of the two forces was like an endless hurricane that swept out in all directions. Many of the cultivators at the scene were swept away. Then, a loud explosion was heard. The godly mountain shattered, and the Taoist rhyme dissipated. The domineering purple sword ray struck Ao Chang and sent him flying. A large amount of blood gushed out like a rain of blood. You can't even take a single sword attack from me. Do you think you're worthy to fight me? Also, let me give you a friendly reminder. I'm here in this era. If you ancient sky prides like you obediently sleep, nothing will happen to you. But if you want to come out and cause trouble, I'll let you know the true meaning of despair. Chu Kuangren looked at Ao Chang and said word by word, who did not know how to talk back. Ao Chang was enraged and wanted to refute. You what? Get out of here. Chu Kuangren's sword chi flowed on the tip of his sword, and a boundlessly sharp sword-based Taoist rhyme filled the air. No one dared to talk back to him. Ao Chang knew that he was no match for Chu Kuangren, so he dragged his injured body and left the scene. Chu Kuangren, just you wait. Once I recover to my peak, I'll make you pay. Ao Chang roared in his heart, his face as gloomy as water. After he left, the other sky prides at the scene also left one by one. As for the purpose of their trip, it was impossible for them to achieve it. D***. That Chu Kuangren is just too powerful. We can't even fight back against him. One of the sky prides from the orthodoxy said unwillingly. Do we really have to stay with these stinky beggars? A cultivator said as he looked at the refugees on the street with dissatisfaction. His face was full of disdain. No, I can't take it anymore. How about this? Let's not send out any troops and let Chu Kuangren deal with those demonic cultivators himself. I'd like to see how he's going to deal with all the demonic cultivators in the entire state with his few subordinates. That's right. So what if he's strong? He won't be able to deal with so many demonic cultivators with his few subordinates. When the time comes, he'll still have to come to us for help. That's right. The sky prides from the other orthodoxies had decided not to attack. They wanted to use this opportunity to force Chu Kuangren to give in. At this time, Chu Kuangren had arrived at a wasteland. To be more precise, this was the ruins of the Mountain River sect. Ever since the Mountain River sect was destroyed, the entire honorable orthodoxy was plundered by the demonic cultivators in just a day. Now, not even a single soul stone could be found in this wasteland. Only the dilapidated walls and ruins could be seen, as if they were telling of the past glory. Master, why did we come here? Lan Yu asked curiously. Lan Yu, if you were to seal a sage ruler demonic weapon, where would you choose to put it? Of course, a place where I can rest assured. What place can you rest assured the most? A place where I can see it but no one else knows. Lan Yu frowned as he voiced out his thoughts. That's right. Chu Kuangren nodded. Master, do you mean that the ancestors of the Mountain River sect might have sealed the supreme demonic honorable sage ruler weapon within their orthodoxy? But this place seems to have been ransacked by someone, Lan Yu said. Perhaps there's a place that no one else can find. Chu Kuangren smiled and activated his treasure locating skill. Chapter 101. There's a sage ruler weapon hidden 3 kilometers underground. The information obtained from the treasure locating skill was relayed to Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. I found it. Damn, it's buried 3 kilometers underground and has a seal to conceal its aura. If not for my treasure locating skill, even an honorable supreme would not be able to find it. The next step is to find a way to get it out. Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu leaped into the air and activated the 3 Taoist physique transformations. A terrifying sword-based Taoist rhyme surrounded his body. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. A purple sword ray descended from the sky and struck the ground. With a loud bang, the earth shook and the mountains shook. The entire Mountain River city shook a few times because of this. Everyone looked into the distance in confusion. What's going on? It's coming from the direction of the Mountain River sect. And this Taoist rhyme, it's Chu Kuangren. What is he up to this time? Let's go take a look. The cultivators in the city rushed towards the direction of the Mountain River sect. Before they could get close, another terrifying explosion erupted in the Mountain River sect. Another domineering sword chi descended from the sky. One after another, the sword rays continued to strike down. F***CK, is this guy trying to split open the mountain? Is there something at the bottom of the mountain? Inside the Mountain River sect, Chu Kuangren continuously activated his sword chi. The Mountain River sect was already in ruins, but because of his actions, it was now in ruins. An enormous, bottomless crack appeared on the ground. Phew, one more. Chu Kuangren swung his sacred sword and a violent sword chi descended. The sword chi cut into the pitch-black crack and shattered as if it had hit an invisible barrier. The remaining sword chi then dissipated. Upon closer inspection, yellow runes appeared in the pitch-black crack. They were glowing and there was earth chi flowing around them. Brother Chu, what are you doing? At that moment, the Mountain River Taoist rushed over and questioned Chu Kuangren. After all, the Mountain River sect was his orthodoxy. Although it had been destroyed, he still had feelings for this place. He could not bear to see it being destroyed. However, he then noticed something strange underground. He looked at the yellow runes and exclaimed, "This is my Mountain River sect's seal. It's good that you're here. Do you know how to break this seal?" Chu Kuangren glanced at him and asked. "This is a restriction set up by my Mountain River sect using earth chi. Unless one's strength surpasses that of the person who set it up, or if one uses earth chi to attack it, it will be very difficult to break." Although the Mountain River Taoist didn't understand the situation, he still explained. "Little fellow, do you need my help?" The seventh forefather's voice rang out from the void. Chu Kuangren chuckled. "Let me do it myself." He soared into the sky and performed a mysterious hand sign. A thick and majestic Taoist rhyme surged and began to gather the earth chi from all directions. Boundless earth chi converged to form an immemorial divine mountain and smashed out with a loud rumble. Sage ruler technique, human mountain stamp. Seeing this, Taoist Mountain River's expressions suddenly changed. To be able to control earth and chi of this scale, what a mysterious Taoist technique. The Mountain River sect was proficient in manipulating earth chi, but even they did not have such a Tao technique. Boom! The divine mountain formed by the earth chi smashed onto the restrictive spell in the crack. Instantly, a large amount of earth chi rushed out of the crack. The Mountain River restriction was broken. At the same time, the earth chi was mixed with a black pillar of chi. That pillar of chi emitted an incredibly powerful Taoist rhyme that made one's scalp tingle. The terrifying demonic chi instantly swept out in all directions. This aura, it's a demonic weapon. Wait a minute, could it be the supreme demonic honorable's demonic spear of apocalypse? That's impossible. The entire Mountain River sect has been turned upside down, but no one has found a trace of the demonic spear. How did Chu Kuangren find it? It's underground. It's hidden underground. How did he find it? Everyone looked at the crack, their expressions changing. Some of them even revealed looks of greed. After all, that was a sage ruler weapon. There were probably only a few of them in the entire firmament star. Unfortunately, because of Chu Kuangren, none of them dared to make a move. The earth chi and demonic chi gradually dispersed. Everyone could now clearly see what was beneath the crack. Deep in the ground, there was a dark red spear with runes circling it and surges of terrifying Taoist rhymes. It was the sage ruler weapon, the demonic spear of apocalypse. So this is a sage ruler weapon? It really is extraordinary. Back in the day, the Supreme Demonic Honorable was able to dominate the Azure Dragon domain largely because of this spear. However, legend has it that even the Supreme Demonic Honorable himself could not fully unleash the power of this spear. Nonsense, this is a sage ruler weapon we're talking about. The Supreme Demonic Honorable has yet to become a sage, so how could he fully unleash the spear's power? The reason why the demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state has attracted countless demonic cultivators from afar is all because of this demonic spear. Countless cultivators gulped as they stared at the demonic spear. It was as if a voice echoed in their hearts, "Get it, get it, I don't care anymore. This spear is mine." Some cultivators could no longer hold back their desire as they dashed towards the crack in a flash. However, before he could get close, a sword ray flashed past and that cultivator was instantly killed by Chu Kuangren. However, the killing did not deter the other cultivators. One after another, they dashed towards the demonic spear with bloodshot eyes. "No, this demonic spear must be mine. No matter how strong Chu Kuangren is, he's just one person. Kill. The demonic spear is destined to belong to me." In the blink of an eye, dozens of cultivators dashed out from the crowd. Chu Kuangren frowned as he looked at their frenzied expressions. As expected of a demonic spear, its ability to seduce people's hearts is not to be underestimated. The demonic spear lived up to its name. If one's Taoist core was not strong enough, one would be tempted by it like these cultivators and fall into a frenzy without realizing it. Chu Kuangren took a step forward and arrived at the depths of the crack before the others. Then he unleashed his 9-heaven sword prison. Inside the sword prison, all the cultivators were frozen in the void, unable to move. One by one, they were killed by Chu Kuangren's sword chi. "Chu Kuangren, hand over the demonic spear." "That's right, this is not something you should have. Be *starred, you're the lead disciple of a sage orthodoxy. You're a peerless genius with many treasures on you. Why do you still want to snatch this demonic spear from us? Are you not going to leave us any room for negotiation?" The remaining cultivators looked at Chu Kuangren and cursed him. One of the battle monarch took a step forward. A large amount of spiritual power surged from his body, and a violent surge of Taoist rhymes instantly gushed out. "No one can stop me from taking this demonic spear." That battle monarch raised his hand and attacked Chu Kuangren. The palm attack swept across the sky. "Idiot!" Chu Kuangren yelled as sword chi surged out of his body, instantly tearing apart the palm attack and killing that cultivator on the spot. Following that, Chu Kuangren formed a hand seal and guided the earth chi to form an ancient godly mountain that blasted the remaining cultivators away. After that, Chu Kuangren turned around to look at the demonic spear of apocalypse. He reached out to hold the spear's handle, and it felt cold to the touch. Boom! The spear vibrated, and a violent surge of demonic chi erupted. "Surrender!" Chu Kuangren activated the 4 supreme foundation levels within his body, and a majestic spiritual power surged out to suppress the demonic spear of apocalypse. Even though it was a sage ruler weapon, it was still a weapon. It would not be able to unleash much of its power if no one was using it. Chapter 102. Chu Kuangren held the demonic spear of apocalypse in his hand and felt the power it contained. It was extremely powerful, much more powerful than his descendant self-sword. Too bad it's a spear, not a sword. Chu Kuangren felt a little regretful. However, he quickly put that thought behind him. After all, he did not come looking for this demonic weapon because he was lacking weapons. With the appearance of this demonic weapon, it's time to end this demonic onslaught. Chu Kuangren murmured and tossed the demonic spear into his yin and yang ring. As the demonic spear disappeared, the cultivators who were bewitched gradually returned to normal and felt their scalps go numb. *CK me, that demonic spear is too evil. What a terrifying demonic weapon. I can't even control myself. The cultivators were still traumatized. However, Chu Kuangren was not interested in them at all. After he exited the crevice, he said to the mountain river Taoist, "Spread the news that the demonic spear of apocalypse is with me. If they want it, tell them to come to me." The mountain river Taoist and the others could guess what Chu Kuangren was planning. He was planning to use the demonic spear as bait to attract all the demonic cultivators in northern Lingdao and then kill them all in one fell swoop. "I'll inform the Li family head to get ready," the mountain river Taoist said solemnly. It was not an easy task to wipe out all the demonic cultivators in northern Lingdao. It required a lot of manpower. They even needed to call back those who were sent out. "Don't do anything unnecessary. All you need to do is spread the news. Chu Kuangren said. Brother Chu, what do you mean by that? The mountain river Taoist was confused. Just do as I say, Chu Kuangren said calmly. The mountain river Taoist's pupils shrank when he saw his calm demeanor. A terrifying and absurd idea popped into his mind. Brother Chu, are you planning to deal with all these demonic cultivators by yourself? That's impossible. There are too many demonic cultivators in northern Lingdao now. How can you deal with them all by yourself? I know what I'm doing. The mountain river Taoist had no choice but to do as he was told. Then, the news of the demonic spear's reappearance began to spread. As the central area, the mountain river city knew about it. Everyone could guess what Chu Kuangren was thinking. They knew that he wanted to use the demonic spear of apocalypse to gather all the demonic cultivators together. However, it was useless even if he knew, because this was an overt plot. If he wanted the demon spear, he would have to find him even if he knew it was a trap. I can't believe that Chu Kuangren has found the demonic spear of apocalypse. What a surprise. Is he going to use this demonic spear to lure all the demonic cultivators here and kill them all at once? That sounds like a good idea. Humph. How could he possibly wipe out all the demonic cultivators in the Dao province with that little bit of manpower he has? It's about time he came to ask for our help. TSK, I really wonder how Chu Kuangren looks like when he's begging someone. I'm really looking forward to it. That's right. Let's all enjoy it together then. Inside the mountain river city, the sky prides from the various sacred lands and the people they had brought along were all waiting for Chu Kuangren to come to them for help. But 1 day, 2 days, 3 days had passed, but Chu Kuangren still had not gone to look for them. The news of the demonic spear's reappearance had spread across the entire northern Lingdao state. Many demonic cultivators were already on their way to the mountain river city. If they did not make preparations soon, it would be too late. At that moment, the sky prides in the mountain river city could no longer sit still. What the hell is Chu Kuangren trying to do? Why hasn't he come to us for help yet? Humph, without us, how is he going to wipe out all the demonic cultivators in the northern Lingdao state? Is he going to ask for help from the orthodoxies? That's impossible. Distant water cannot quench present thirst. Besides, this demonic onslaught is a form of training given to us by the older generation. They won't act rashly. D***, what is Chu Kuangren trying to do? All of the sky prides were confused. Then more news came. Chu Kuangren had left the mountain river city and headed towards a nearby mountain range. It seemed like he was going to fight to the death with a group of demonic cultivators there. At that moment, all of the sky prides knew what Chu Kuangren was trying to do. He was trying to fight all the demonic cultivators by himself. F***ck me, does this guy have a death wish? Doesn't he know how many demonic cultivators there are in the northern Lingdao state? How can he deal with all of them by himself? He's just digging his own grave. I heard that he did not even summon back the disciples from the great orthodoxies that he had sent out to save people. This time he's dead meat. In the mountain river city, the mountain river Taoist, Li family head, and the others naturally knew about Chu Kuangren's plan. They could not help but exclaim, "Brother Chu is such a righteous man." Meanwhile, the news had also spread out in the city. All of the refugees and ordinary citizens knew that Chu Kuangren was going to fight all the demonic cultivators by himself. This caused countless people to be shocked and convinced. In an instant, Chu Kuangren's image in the hearts of the people had skyrocketed. Compared to the likes of Gu Chang'e and Feng Tian, he was many times better. The ordinary citizens were indeed weak, but they were not blind. They could tell who was truly sincere in helping them solve the demonic onslaught. The sacred lands of serene wisdom, the Jiang Valley, and the sage orthodoxies are all bullsh*t. They're not even worth the strand of Master Chu's hair. That's right. Ever since Master Chu arrived, he has been accepting refugees and sending people to various places to provide disaster relief. He's so much better than the other sky prides who only know how to enjoy themselves. Master Chu is the one who truly wants to save us. Public opinion exploded. Chu Kuangren was praised by everyone as the savior of the northern Lingdao state. As for the other sky prides, They were scolded for being good-for-nothings. Even their orthodoxies were cursed. Ao Chang, Lin Badian, Feng Tian, and the others could not sit still anymore. Why did they come to the northern Lingdao state? Of course, it was to increase the prestige of their orthodoxies. However, after what Chu Kuangren had done, not only did they lose their prestige, but their reputation had also been tarnished. Brother Lin, let's do something now. In a great hall, Lin Badian and the others were gathered together. The one who spoke was Feng Tian from the Five Ways sect, and he looked a little anxious. If we don't act now, Chu Kuangren will take all the limelight. Yuan Hong from the Dharma sect also suggested to act as soon as possible to eradicate the demonic onslaught. Why should we act now? At that moment, Ao Chang spoke. Everyone looked at him with a puzzled expression. Even if we act now, Chu Kuangren will take all the limelight, popularity, and prestige. The people will only think that we're acting because of public opinion, Ao Chang said. Then what should we do? Wait for Chu Kuangren to fail. With so many demonic cultivators, I don't believe that he can fight them all by himself. Once he fails, the people will definitely fall into despair. Then we'll act and save the day. We'll save the people from this disaster and put an end to this demonic onslaught. Ao Chang's suggestion made many people's eyes light up. Since they could not save any face by acting now, they might as well wait for Chu Kuangren to fail before they act. Not only would that increase their prestige, but it would also damage Chu Kuangren's reputation. What a good way to kill two birds with one stone. I agree. Me too. Chapter 103. The demonic spear of Apocalypse was hidden beneath the mountain river sect? In a tall building, a handsome young man in white robes was shocked. Beside him, the gray-robed elder nodded. That's right. The mountain river sect's forefathers sealed it underground and even set up a restriction to hide it from me. Otherwise, I would have gotten my hands on the demonic spear of Apocalypse when I destroyed the mountain river sect. Why would I have to go through so much trouble? If someone were to hear the conversation between the two of them, they would definitely be shocked. The mountain river sect was destroyed by these two people. From their conversation, one could even tell that the demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state was caused by these two people. I wanted to use the Azure Dragon Domain's demonic cultivators to find the demonic spear of Apocalypse, but I didn't expect Chu Kuangren to find it instead. It's going to be troublesome to get my hands on the spear now, the handsome young man said. He had heard of Chu Kuangren's reputation, but more importantly, Chu Kuangren had the protection of 3 great sage orthodoxies. Having the demonic spear of Apocalypse in Chu Kuangren's hands was more troublesome than having it in the hands of an honorable. It's troublesome, but it's not impossible. Oh, please tell me, teacher. The demonic spear of Apocalypse was left behind by your forefather, and it complements your supreme demonic physique. It'll be of great help to you, so you must get your hands on it. The most troublesome thing for Chu Kuangren is the protectors around him, but with the help of the demonic cultivators from the state, we should be able to hold them back. When the time comes, you and the other demonic cultivators will surround and kill Chu Kuangren. With your strength and sensitivity to the demonic spear of Apocalypse, you should be able to get your hands on it during the chaos. The elder came up with a preliminary plan. Surround and kill Chu Kuangren with the others? The handsome young man frowned, seemingly dissatisfied with the suggestion. The elder could tell that the young man was dissatisfied, so he said, Chu Kuangren is very powerful. You may be strong, but you're still no match for him. You'll need the help of the other demonic cultivators. Is he really that powerful? If the rumors are true, he'll only be stronger than I thought. All right, I understand. The young man nodded. Don't worry. There are too many demonic cultivators after the demonic spear of Apocalypse. He won't be able to stop them all by himself. As long as he can hold off those protectors, Chu Kuangren will definitely die. A cold look flashed across the elder's eyes. The demonic spear of Apocalypse is in Chu Kuangren's hands? After searching for so long, the demonic spear of Apocalypse has finally appeared. Chu Kuangren, here I come. Rumor has it that Chu Kuangren is hiding in a mountain range outside the mountain river city by himself. He wants to fight against all of us by himself. What a joke. You're simply courting death. To do such a thing for a bunch of ants, this Chu Kuangren is really stupid. I've long wanted to meet this infamous Chu Kuangren. This is the perfect opportunity to kill him and take the demonic weapon. Let's go. The Utopia faction wants this devil spear. The news of the demonic spear of apocalypse spread across the entire northern Lingdao within a few days, shocking all the demonic cultivators. Led by the three major demonic orthodoxies of the Azure Dragon domain, the demonic cultivators quickly rushed to the mountain river city, ready to deal with Chu Kuangren and seize the demonic weapon. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren. He was in a mountain range, sitting on a large green rock with his eyes closed. Mysterious Taoist rhymes circulated around his body. After a long while, he slowly opened his eyes. Completed Paradise Realm. At this point, his cultivation base had reached the completed Paradise Realm, and he was only one step away from breaking through to the Battle Monarch Realm. In other words, he could break through to the Battle Monarch Realm at any time, but he did not do so. Instead, he deliberately suppressed it. He had already forged a supreme foundation in the four realms of Foundation Establishment, Golden Core, Nascent Soul, and Paradise Realm. He wanted to do the same for the Battle Monarch Realm. However, it was extremely difficult to forge a supreme foundation in the Battle Monarch Realm. In the past 150,000 years, there were only a few who could do it. However, if it was not difficult, then there would be no point in challenging it. Chu Kuangren was confident that he could do it. Hence, he deliberately suppressed his cultivation base, waiting for the right time to forge a supreme foundation. Let's deal with this demonic onslaught first. Chu Kuangren thought to himself. At that moment, Lan Yu frowned beside him. Suddenly, her figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. Then, sounds of fighting could be heard from afar. When Lan Yu returned, she was carrying a half-dead young cultivator in her hand. She casually tossed him to the ground. Which sect are you from? Chu Kuangren asked. I'm a spy from the Euphoria sect. Since he had been caught, the young cultivator had no intention of hiding his identity. Chu Kuangren thought for a while. In the Azure Dragon domain, although the demonic orthodoxies had always been suppressed by the 8 great sage orthodoxies, there were still many forces worth mentioning. Among them, the 3 major demonic orthodoxies were the most famous. They were the Euphoria sect, the Ashura sect, and the Corpse Refining sect. Rumor had it that the combined power of these 3 sects could rival a sage orthodoxy. They were much stronger than ordinary honorable orthodoxies. How many people are heading here? Chu Kuangren asked again. The Euphoria sect, the Corpse Refining sect, and the Ashura sect. All the demonic cultivators that came to the northern Lingdao state are heading here. I'm a spy from the Euphoria sect. I'm here to see if you guys have set up any traps. The young cultivator said with uncertainty in his eyes. He had taken a stroll around the mountain range just now. Apart from Chu Kuangren, he did not see a single cultivator. In other words, Chu Kuangren was the only one here. There were no traps at all. Chu Kuangren was really going to face all the demonic cultivators alone. Even the demonic cultivators who were known for their madness could not help but be scared to death by Chu Kuangren's actions. Alright, I think you're almost done with your investigation. You can go back and report now. Hurry up, don't make me wait too long. Seeing that Chu Kuangren was not going to kill him, the young cultivator quickly got up and left. Before he left, he asked curiously, "Is the demonic spear of apocalypse really with you?" With a clang, a dark red spear appeared in front of the young cultivator. Waves of Taoist rhymes rushed into the young cultivator's mind, causing a hint of madness to appear in his eyes. It's really the demonic spear. Chu Kuangren let him take a look before he kept the demonic spear of apocalypse and said coldly, "Get lost." The young cultivator regained his composure and quickly left. After he left, the 7th forefather and the other 2 protectors walked out of the void. The 7th forefather said, "Young man, do you really plan to face all the demonic cultivators alone? It's too risky." "Don't worry, 7th forefather. When the time comes, I'll have to trouble all the cultivators above the honorable realm for me. I'll handle the rest. That's not a problem, but there are at least tens of thousands of demonic cultivators coming to the northern Lingdao state. How are you going to deal with them alone, bachelor sage? Why don't you call back the disciples you sent out? Honorable Qinglan of the School of White Lotus said worriedly. The demonic spear of apocalypse may be tempting, but not every demonic cultivator will come. Someone will have to deal with those that have slipped through. I'll leave it to junior brother Nangong and the others, Chu Kuangren said. Don't worry, I have the White Lotus light of purification with me. Even an honorable can't do anything to me. Besides, if I really can't hold on any longer, no one can stop me from leaving. Chu Kuangren laughed. Chapter 104. Did Chu Kuangren really not set up any traps? In the mountains near the mountain river city, a group of demonic cultivators had gathered. The leader of the group was a lady in a gorgeous robe. She was the Euphoria sect's senior elder, and she could not help but be surprised when she heard the news from the scouts. Did Chu Kuangren really plan to fight against all the demonic cultivators by himself? Oh my god, this is just too crazy. No, the word crazy is not enough to describe this anymore. This guy must be crazy. Aside from the Euphoria sect, the cultivators from the Ashura sect and the corpse refining sect had also sent their people to check on the situation. At that moment, the three great demonic orthodoxies were shocked, but there were also many who felt that they had been underestimated, which made them extremely angry. What does this guy think we are? He's too arrogant. That's right, he has no respect for us at all. I've investigated. The other orthodoxies have no intention of making a move at all. They're all staying in the mountain river city. Chu Kuangren. All the demonic cultivators headed towards the mountains. Inside the mountains. Ever since Chu Kuangren sent the scouts from the Euphoria sect away, he knew that the demonic cultivators would arrive in less than 2 days. They're already here. Chu Kuangren slowly opened his eyes and looked towards the forest not far away. The forest trembled and countless birds and beasts were startled away. Figures came from all directions and surrounded Chu Kuangren. Their numbers were like a swarm of locusts. Each of these people had a ferocious aura, and their leader was a burly man in black armor. Chu Kuangren glanced at them and activated his eye of revelation. Soon he found out who these people were. Ashura sect. Rumor has it that the Ashura sect's cultivators are bloodthirsty. No wonder they have such a ferocious aura. Chu Kuangren murmured. The Ashura sect's cultivators did not attack immediately when they arrived. Instead, they stared at Chu Kuangren cautiously. They had heard many legends about Chu Kuangren, so they were more or less nervous to face this immortal-like figure head-on. As the Ashura sect's cultivators arrived, the scene was filled with a murderous atmosphere. The surroundings were so quiet that even the chirping of the insects had disappeared. Suddenly, a strange fragrance wafted over. In the sky, a charming and enchanting woman in a fiery red dress soared through the air. She brought with her a strange fragrance, and the somber atmosphere eased up. Many Ashura sect cultivators looked at the woman, their minds seemingly bewitched as their burning gazes swept back and forth across her body. Behind the woman, a large number of cultivators also rushed over. The densely packed crowd immediately surrounded the sky, making it so that not even a drop of water could escape. It's just as the rumors say. The famous Chu Kuangren is indeed a handsome man. The red-clothed lady could not help but lick her lips when she saw Chu Kuangren. Her eyes were filled with amazement. Little Langjun, give me the demon spear of apocalypse, and I'll take you back to the Utopia faction to enjoy the happiest things in the world. What do you think? The lady in red winked at Chu Kuangren and teased him. Chu Kuangren sat on the blue stone and turned a deaf ear to it, his expression indifferent. What a joke! It was said that the Utopia faction had a dual cultivation method, which was most suitable for women to cultivate. Through intercourse, women could absorb the essence of men to improve their cultivation. Chu Kuangren did not want to be sucked dry. At that moment, the ground shook as a group of ferocious-looking walking corpses in tattered clothes rushed towards them. Wherever they went, corpse chi filled the air, and all the plants and trees withered. Behind the group of walking corpses were dozens of black giants the size of small hills. These giants had dark skin, twisted facial features, and their bodies were engraved with strange runes. Every step they took caused the ground to tremble. On top of the black giants stood a group of strangely dressed cultivators. Some wore bamboo hats, while others wore cloaks. The corpse refining sect, one of the three great demonic orthodoxies, had also arrived. With the arrival of the three great demonic orthodoxies, the rest of the scattered demonic cultivators who were here to fish in troubled waters also showed up. Their total number was not much less than any of the three great demonic orthodoxies. The total number of these four forces was much more than what Chu Kuangren had imagined. There were at least 100,000 of them. In an instant, the demonic forces danced around. The Ashura sect, Euphoria sect, Corpse Refining sect, and the rest of the small fries should be here by now. Chu Kuangren chuckled and slowly stood up. His frail body was as straight as a sword, giving off an indestructible and unstoppable aura. All the demonic cultivators at the scene were shocked. Inside the mountain river city. On top of the city wall, the Li family head, the mountain river Taoist, and the others looked towards the direction of the mountain range. Although they were hundreds of miles away, they could still clearly sense the terrifying aura. What a strong aura! I can feel it even from so far away. How many demonic cultivators are here? The mountain river Taoist said solemnly. Activate the divine observatory. At that moment, the Li family head shouted. A Li family disciple took out a huge round mirror. Runes flowed on the mirror, and as spiritual power was injected into it, images began to appear. Finally, it stopped at the location of a mountain range. That was where Chu Kuangren was. When they saw the densely packed demonic cultivators in the image, the Li family head, the mountain river Taoist, and the others could not help but tremble. There were too many of them. The number of demonic cultivators was just too many. It was far beyond their imagination. We've underestimated the temptation of the demonic spear of apocalypse to these demonic cultivators. I guess the three demonic orthodoxies have turned out in full force. Brother Chu, how are we going to deal with this? The Li family head said with a trembling voice. Then he turned the divine observatory's direction, and a ray of light shot out from the mirror. It landed in the sky and turned into a huge light screen. Everyone in the mountain river city saw the light screen. This is the Li family's divine observatory. I heard that the Li family's divine observatory has the magical ability to see everything within a 10,000-mile radius. What are they going to show us? Everyone looked at the light screen curiously. When the light faded, an image appeared. In the mountain range, densely packed demonic cultivators were scattered all over the place, and zombies were roaring in every corner of the land. Everyone's pupils shrank when they saw this scene. These are demonic cultivators. So many demonic cultivators. They're all gathered together. This is too scary. Wait, could it be? Some people had already guessed what was going on. When the image changed, it finally stopped at a skinny figure in a white robe. It was a young man. The young man was accompanied by an equally beautiful woman. Both of them were surrounded by the demonic cultivators, but they looked calm. Seeing that, most of the people were already tearing up. That's Brother Chu. It's Brother Chu. He's fighting against the demonic cultivators for us. There are so many demonic cultivators, how is Brother Chu going to deal with them? Is he prepared to die? On the city wall, the Li family head shouted to the people in the city, everyone, fellow cultivators, Brother Chu is fighting against the demonic cultivators for the future of the northern Lingdao state. His achievements will be remembered forever. Chapter 105. F***CK, this Li family head sure is troublesome. Lin Batian cursed in the crowd. The Li family head's action was undoubtedly to boost Chu Kuangren's reputation. Our efforts will be futile. Once Chu Kuangren is dead, we'll strike again. By then, we'll have someone to add fuel to the fire in the crowd, and the people will only remember us, Ao Chang said calmly. Public opinion was always in the hands of those with power. As long as Chu Kuangren was dead, They could write whatever they wanted in the history books. With so many demonic cultivators, each of them is enough to cut Chu Kuangren into 1,000 pieces. Let's see how he survives this time. That's right. His protectors are probably being held back by the higher-ups of the demonic orthodoxies. TSK, he's really fighting alone this time. 2 against 100,000? It would be strange if he could win. None of the Sky Prides thought highly of Chu Kuangren. To them, Chu Kuangren was no different from a dead man. On the other side of the mountain range, a terrifying Taoist rhyme permeated the void. A few people were engaged in a chaotic battle. These people were extremely powerful. All of them were honorables, and any one of them was enough to intimidate most of the strong cultivators in the world. These were the demonic cultivators that the seventh forefather and the others were fighting against. One of the gray-robed elders was fighting against the seventh forefather. Their cultivation levels were similar, and every collision caused the void to tremble violently. For you, I've never heard of you in the Azure Dragon domain. The seventh forefather looked at the gray-robed elder in shock. If there were any honorable supreme demonic cultivators in the Azure Dragon domain, there was no reason for him not to know about them. Unless they were from another domain. I'm from the Underworld Palace. The gray-robed elder said calmly. As soon as he said that, everyone's expression changed slightly. The Underworld Palace. This was not the rumored place where the dead would go, but the most terrifying and mysterious demonic organization in Firmament Star. If I remember correctly, the Underworld Palace is usually active in the Black Warrior domain. Why are you here? The seventh forefather said coldly. Like everyone else, I'm here for the demonic spear of apocalypse. With your cultivation level, you must not be a small character in the Underworld Palace. Which of the 10 infernal kings are you? I'm the Chakra King. As soon as he finished speaking, the gray-robed old man, the Chakravarti King, pointed a finger at the seventh patriarch, and a terrifying Taoist rhyme erupted from his fingertip. The seventh forefather did not dare to be careless. He slashed out with his green vine sword. Elsewhere, Honorable Qinglan and the old lady from the Royal Azure Dynasty had also stopped the other honorable demonic cultivators. In another place, in the middle of the mountain range, a group of demonic cultivators had gathered. Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu faced the 100,000 demonic cultivators in front of them with no emotions in their eyes. Lan Yu, are you willing to join me in slaying the demons? Do your utmost until your death. Lan Yu's body emitted a blinding white light. She spread her wings and silver white armor covered her body. She held the scepter of light in her hand, which surged with a holy aura. This divine aura made many demonic cultivators feel very uncomfortable. Chu Kuangren, hand over the demonic spear of apocalypse, and I'll let you die in one piece. The leader of the Ashura sect said coldly. Chu Kuangren took out the demonic spear of apocalypse and stabbed it into the ground in front of him. He then glanced at the crowd of demonic beasts. The spear is right here. If you want it, come and get it yourself. When the demonic spear of apocalypse appeared, the demonic cultivators' breathing became heavy. They stared at the demonic spear with bloodshot eyes. Is this the demonic spear? What a powerful Taoist rhyme. Back then, the Supreme Demonic Honorable used this spear to dominate the Azure Dragon domain. If I can get my hands on this spear, I can too. Go. Kill. Without waiting for the leader to give the order, the group of demonic cultivators could no longer hold back their desire for the demonic spear and charged towards Chu Kuangren. Boom. An incredibly powerful sword chi gushed out from Chu Kuangren's body, and the first few dozen demonic cultivators who got close were instantly killed by the sword chi. Following that, the spiritual chi of the heavens and earth surged as the sword-based Taoist rhyme condensed the spiritual chi of the heavens and earth into 12 long sword chi pillars. At that moment, the area within a 100-kilometer radius had turned into a prison. Another terrifying surge of sword-based Taoist rhyme formed the sword of the heavens above Chu Kuangren's head. As the sword trembled, its sword chi danced around like an endless gale that swept across the entire area. All of a sudden, a series of mysterious Taoist rhymes reverberated in the air. A green lotus bloomed beneath Chu Kuangren's feet, and each petal was condensed from pure sword qi with mysterious Taoist patterns circulating on it. 9 Heaven Sword Prison, Sword of the Heavens, Green Lotus Sword Song, all 3 Taoist physique transformations were unleashed. Chu Kuangren held the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand and swung it horizontally, unleashing an incredibly domineering purple sword ray. Wherever the sword ray passed, the demonic cultivators were torn apart. Spear of Judgment. Lan Yu flapped her wings and leaped into the air. A massive amount of light-based Taoist rhyme gathered and formed a white spear. The spear shot out and smashed into the crowd. Violent energy swept out and dozens of demonic cultivators were blasted into pieces on the spot. Kill! The demonic cultivators roared and charged at the same time. All sorts of attacks were aimed at Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu. In the void, colorful energy was like a raging torrent that slammed into the void. Most of these demonic cultivators were in the Golden Core and Nascent Soul realms, and only a few of them were in the Paradise realm. Although they were not considered powerful individually, 100,000 demonic cultivators attacking at the same time was extremely terrifying. White Lotus Light of Purification. Ripples appeared around Chu Kuangren as a mysterious Taoist rhyme condensed into white lotuses. All sorts of attacks landed on the lotuses, causing a series of explosions. Smoke and dust rose in all directions as dust billowed. Because of the energy storm that swept out, the surrounding mountains crazily exploded. Some of the weaker demonic cultivators were blasted away by the energy storm and died on the spot. Did it work? So what if it's Chu Kuangren? Even an honorable would die under such an attack. The group of demonic cultivators laughed maniacally. A purple sword ray shot out from the dust, and a few of the laughing demonic cultivators had their heads sliced open on the spot. How is this possible? Chu Kuangren is not dead yet. A surge of sword qi swept out from the dust, dispersing the dust and killing hundreds of demonic cultivators around him. Is this all you've got? Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu stood where they were, surrounded by white lotuses. They were unscathed. Chu Kuangren glanced at the demonic cultivators with an indifferent gaze, as if he was looking at a group of ants. This white lotus has defensive abilities. So what? I don't believe he can defend forever. Let's attack together. Don't forget we have 100,000 people. Although the group of demonic cultivators was shocked by Chu Kuangren's strength, they did not back down. Whether it was their desire for the demonic spear of apocalypse or their confidence in their own strength, they were motivated to launch a second round of attacks. Chu Kuangren's spiritual power surged and his Taoist rhyme manifested as he activated the White Lotus Light of Purification to protect himself and Lan Yu. At the same time, he did not stop attacking. Whether it was his sword qi or Lan Yu's spear of judgment, every time they were used, a large number of demonic cultivators would die. There were so many of them that they did not even have to lock onto their targets. As long as they attacked, they would always hit their targets. Chapter 106. Inside the mountain river city, the people could not help but be shocked and speechless when they saw the scene displayed on the sky observation mirror. The two of them were not at a disadvantage against 100,000 demonic cultivators. One could even say that they were suppressing them. 100,000 demonic cultivators were killed like weeds being mowed down. Too powerful. Some of the cultivators swallowed their saliva in shock. Not far away, Ao Chang and the other Sky Prides were also watching. Just like the others, their hearts were filled with indescribable shock at this moment. They were shocked by Chu Kuangren's strength. 100,000 demonic cultivators were suppressed by him and his follower? The most terrifying thing is that White Lotus with unparalleled defense. That White Lotus blocked all the attacks, and that's the key to suppressing the demonic cultivators. Even without Lan Yu beside him, I don't think he's any weaker than them. Ao Chang stared at the scene on the sky observation mirror in shock. Were all the Sky Prides of this era not like Gu Chang'e or Fang Tian? They were nothing compared to ancient Sky Prides like him. But what was up with Chu Kuangren? Why was this guy so terrifying? Even in his era, there was no one who could compare to him. With a wave of sword rays, dozens of demonic cultivators were torn apart on the spot. Chu Kuangren held the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand. As he continued to swing the sword, his understanding of the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique deepened. The demonic cultivators before him had become his whetstone. A furious roar echoed throughout the forest. A giant corpse the size of a hill rushed towards Chu Kuangren and threw a punch at him. The violent energy caused the void to tremble and formed a shockwave. Chu Kuangren's expression did not change. The punch landed on the white lotus around him, but it did not even cause any ripples, let alone hurt him. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. With a slash of his sword, the violent sword ray tore the corpse apart and killed the manipulator behind it as well. The 2 versus 100,000 battle lasted for 2 hours. The terrifying energy fluctuations almost shattered the mountain range. Blood flowed like a river and bones piled up. After 2 hours of killing, Chu Kuangren had killed countless demonic cultivators, but the demonic cultivators could not do anything to him. The White Lotus Light of Purification's defense was too strong. Chu Kuangren, die. At this moment, in the direction of the Shura sect, the burly man attacked brazenly with a saber in his hand. A surging Taoist rhyme erupted, transforming into a huge saber shadow that slashed down. A surge of merciless saber Taoist rhyme that could destroy everything locked onto Chu Kuangren. This was the Shura sect's supreme technique. Bliss Strike. The female cultivator of the Utopia faction also attacked. She waved her hands and lines of runes intertwined in front of her, forming a beautiful shadow that flew towards Chu Kuangren. This phantom figure was graceful and dazzling, but it contained a terrifying power that made people feel intimidated at the sight of it. Copper Devil Corpse, go! Within the corpse refining sect, an old man wearing a bamboo hat and wrapped in strange bandages coldly snorted. The walking dead under his feet let out a roar, and the sound waves spread out like a storm. The zombie took a step forward and arrived above Chu Kuangren. His 10 fingers interlaced like a sledgehammer and slammed down with earth-shattering power. The experts of the 3 major demonic sects had attacked. The huge saber shadow landed on the White Lotus first, followed by the Bliss Strike, and then the giant zombie's fist. 3 surges of power erupted at the same time, attacking the White Lotus in the sky. Under such a powerful attack, the White Lotus remained motionless. This scene made the demonic cultivators' pupils dilate. What kind of technique is this White Lotus? It's too terrifying. D***. All Battle Monarch cultivators, use your domain suppression. The burly man leading the Ashura sect roared. In an instant, one by one, the Battle Monarch domains were unleashed. However, when their power landed on the White Lotus in the sky, it still disintegrated. It could not affect Chu Kuangren and his opponent at all. The Battle Monarch's strongest technique was useless. Drag it out until he dies. No matter how strong this person is, he's still only in the Paradise realm. His spiritual power is limited. With so many of us here, I don't believe we can't drag him out. Let's see what he can do when his spiritual power is depleted. One of the demonic cultivators said loudly. Many people's eyes lit up. That was right. After all, they had tens of thousands of demonic cultivators while Chu Kuangren was alone. Would they not be able to wear them out? This person is using both his Taoist physique transformation and Sage Ruler technique. How long can he last with his cultivation base? When his spiritual power is depleted, it'll be his death. At that thought, some of the strong demonic cultivators no longer attacked Chu Kuangren. Instead, they held him back and let the others become cannon fodder to deplete Chu Kuangren's spiritual power. Gradually, the number of corpses around them increased. Inside the mountain river city, the people were shocked as they watched the battle. At the same time, they were worried for Chu Kuangren. Of course, they knew that there was a limit to a person's strength. No matter how strong Chu Kuangren was, he was only one person. How was he going to kill 100,000 demonic cultivators? Ao Chang, Lin Badian, and the others also noticed something. These demonic cultivators are planning to exhaust Chu Kuangren to death. Lin Badian took a deep breath and said with a trembling voice, One could only imagine how much pressure Chu Kuangren was exerting on them for 100,000 demonic cultivators to use such a strategy. Although Chu Kuangren has a supreme foundation and his spiritual power far surpasses his peers, he's still only in the paradise realm. His spiritual power is limited. Once his spiritual power is depleted, he'll definitely die. Ao Chang's eyes revealed a hint of ruthlessness. He did not want Chu Kuangren to live. Chu Kuangren's talent was too strong. Based on the strength that Chu Kuangren had displayed so far, even if Ao Chang recovered to his peak, he would still not be a match for Chu Kuangren. Why aren't you guys making a move? At that moment, the Mountain River Taoist came before Ao Chang and the others and questioned them. Make a move? What's there to make a move for? Look at Brother Chu's ferocious and invincible appearance. There's no need for us to make a move, Ao Chang said. No matter how strong Brother Chu is, he's only one person. His spiritual power will eventually be depleted. Are you guys going to sit back and watch him get killed by the demonic cultivators? The Mountain River Taoist could not help but stare angrily at Ao Chang. Don't worry, Mountain River Taoist. When the time comes, we'll make a move, Guchanga said. You guys? The Mountain River Taoist suddenly felt sad. How could the respected sage orthodoxy's sky prides be like this? Compared to Brother Chu, you guys aren't even fit to carry his shoes. Knowing that Ao Chang and the others were determined to kill Chu Kuangren, the Mountain River Taoist had nothing else to say. He flicked his sleeves and left. Fenggan, Lin Batin, and the other sky prides were so angry that their faces turned green. Lin Batin snorted and said, "What, Chu Kuangren? He's going to be a dead man soon. There's no way we can compete with him." That's right. Comparing ourselves to a dead man is a joke. The sky prides stared at the light screen in the sky. They stared at the domineering Chu Kuangren who was on a killing spree. Their eyes were filled with jealousy. Chu Kuangren, you must die. If you don't die, there's no place for us in this era. Chapter 107. More and more demonic cultivator corpses were piling up around them. Chu Kuangren had repeated the same action of waving his sword several times. The 100,000 demonic cultivators had been terrorized by him, and now less than a tenth of them were left. During this process, he consumed a terrifying amount of spiritual power. If it was any other cultivator in the same realm, even if there were 10 of them, their spiritual power would have dried up long ago. However, he persisted until now. His foundation was simply too powerful. Although it couldn't be said that his 4 supreme foundations were unprecedented, at the very least, in this era, no one could match them. Beside him, Lan Yu's face had already turned pale. Her cultivation had already advanced to the paradise realm, and with the help of her supreme Taoist body, the amount of spiritual power she had was several times more than that of other cultivators in the same realm. However, after a round of slaughter, her spiritual power had already been exhausted. Lan Yu, you should rest for a while. Chu Kuangren said gently. As long as Lan Yu was within the protection of the white lotus light of purification, no one present could hurt her. Sir, be careful, Lan Yu said. She then took out a pill and swallowed it. She then began to adjust her breathing, trying to recover her spiritual energy as quickly as possible. This scene caused the mouths of all the demonic cultivators present to twitch twice. Are you kidding me? We're killing each other. Furthermore, you're outnumbered. Do you have to be so arrogant? You're adjusting your breathing right under our noses? That woman can't hold on much longer, and I think Chu Kuangren is almost at his limit as well. Let's keep it up, everyone, the leader of the Ashura sect said. Although there were less than 10,000 demonic cultivators left, most of them were at the nascent soul realm. Their battle prowess was also extremely terrifying. Coupled with the fact that some of the demonic cultivators had yet to make a move, Chu Kuangren and his companion's situation had not improved at all. In fact, it had become even more dangerous. Now is the time. Among the crowd, a skinny old man stared at the demonic spear of apocalypse beside Chu Kuangren and took out a white hand bone from his yin and yang ring. After the hand bone appeared, the demonic spear of apocalypse trembled as if it had sensed something. Chu Kuangren was surprised as he glanced at the skinny old man. Taoist runes began to circulate in his eyes. Venerable Ku Teng, a trusted follower of the Limitless Demon Venerable in the past, a remnant of the Limitless Demon sect. His cultivation is at the middle stage of the Venerable realm, and he cultivates a supreme technique. With the remains of the Limitless Demon Venerable, he can resonate with the demonic spear of apocalypse. A series of messages flashed past. Chu Kuangren was surprised as he looked at the skeletal hand in his opponent's hand. There was indeed an honorable Taoist rhyme emanating from it. The demonic spear of apocalypse was once the weapon of the limitless demon lord, so it was not unusual for it to resonate with his remains. But if you think you can take the demonic spear away like this, you must be dreaming. Chu Kuangren snorted coldly. He reached out and grabbed the devil's spear, and a majestic spiritual power surged out. The originally trembling devil's spear was forcibly suppressed by him. Honorable Ku Teng's expression changed. I can't believe that Chu Kuangren has such spiritual power. Unbelievable. When the other experts saw Venerable Ku Teng's actions, they also had their own guesses. At the same time, they were also surprised by Venerable Ku Teng's appearance. Ever since the death of the Limitless Demon Lord, this Venerable Ku Teng has disappeared without a trace. I thought that he was long dead. To think that he's actually still alive. That old bastard is too good at living. A Supreme's lifespan is at most 8,000 years. Demonic cultivators are not tolerated by the heavenly Tao, so their lifespans are even shorter. He actually managed to live until now? There are many treasures in this world that can extend one's lifespan. From the looks of it, he's not far from heavenly deterioration stage 5. The experts of the 3 demonic orthodoxies discussed in a low voice. Chu Kuangren looked at Honorable Ku Teng and said, most of the demonic orthodoxies honorables have been intercepted by the 7th forefather. You must have some tricks up your sleeves to be able to sneak in. What a pity. Since you've lived in hiding for so many years, why didn't you continue to hide? Why did you suddenly come out? Do you have a death wish? Honorable Ku Teng sneered. The demonic spear of apocalypse is the demonic honorable's weapon. It should belong to the supreme demon sect. A long-dead orthodoxy that only left behind remnants like you to struggle on death's door dares to snatch the sage ruler weapon? How foolish. You'll know once you try. Without another word, Honorable Ku Teng raised his hand and unleashed a palm attack. An extremely sinister Taoist rhyme manifested and blasted towards Chu Kuangren. The white lotuses in the sky trembled. The outermost layer of the white lotuses seemed to have been ravaged by a storm as the petals withered and shattered. Since the beginning of the war, this was the first time the white lotus light of purification had been destroyed. Although it did not completely shatter, the crowd of demonic cultivators' eyes lit up and their faces were filled with joy. Ha! This guy's spiritual power is almost depleted. Everyone keep it up. Chu Kuangren, prepare to die. The demonic cultivators attacked with all their might. All sorts of Taoist rhymes erupted and bombarded the white lotuses, causing them to tremble and shatter. Just when Honorable Ku Teng was about to attack, a handsome young man suddenly appeared in front of him. Who's there? Honorable Ku Teng's expression changed slightly. However, when he saw the young man's face clearly, his pupils dilated in disbelief. Who? Is the demonic honorable? No, that's not right. The demonic honorable is already dead. Honorable Ku Teng quickly denied it. I'm his descendant. Lend me your arm bone. I have a way to get the demonic spear of apocalypse. The young man stared at the arm bone in his opponent's hand with a burning gaze. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren was dealing with the attacks of many demonic cultivators. Maintaining his Taoist physique's 3 major transformations, the White Lotus Light of Purification, and activating the Sage Ruler technique had consumed too much of his spiritual power. However, Chu Kuangren did not panic. Instead, he remained calm. Gluttonous devouring technique. A strange Taoist rhyme suddenly erupted around Chu Kuangren's body, and a terrifying suction force erupted. The corpses of the demonic cultivators around him were disintegrated into countless blood and flesh essences that gushed towards him from all directions. The corpses of the demonic cultivators piled up like a mountain. To Chu Kuangren, who possessed the gluttonous devouring technique, these corpses were like precious herbs that could replenish his spiritual power at any time. Moreover, unlike ordinary medicinal pills that required a certain amount of time to be digested, they could be converted into spiritual power in a very short period of time once they entered his body. That was Chu Kuangren's greatest source of confidence in this battle. With the gluttonous devouring technique, he had no fear of exhausting his spiritual power. Group battles were completely useless to him. The demonic cultivators' plan to wear him down with a continuous battle was a mistake from the beginning. The more he killed, the more spiritual power he could replenish. Large amounts of blood and flesh essences flowed into Chu Kuangren's body like rivers flowing into the sea. His originally depleted spiritual power was recovering at a terrifying rate, and it even showed signs of improving. That scene almost made all the demonic cultivators shut themselves up. They had been fighting with their lives on the line to deplete their opponent's spiritual power, but he had recovered in the blink of an eye. That was just too shameless. What kind of technique is that? Why does this guy have so many techniques? I've never even heard of any of them. Where did he get them from? If he had such a technique, why didn't he use it just now? I understand now. He's trying to create an illusion. He wants to give us the illusion that we can exhaust his spiritual power and defeat him. However, who would have thought that he would have such a method? Chapter 108. His gluttonous devouring technique caught everyone off guard. Chu Kuangren, who had once again recovered to his peak, once again formed white lotuses in the void. His peerless defense rendered all the demonic cultivators helpless. With a swing of the sacred sword, the domineering sword ray killed many demonic cultivators. Even the elites of the 3 demonic orthodoxies were no match for him. The remaining 10,000 demonic cultivators were killed one after another. Buzzbuzz. At that moment, the demonic spear of Apocalypse, which was beside Chu Kuangren, leaped into the air and shot towards a certain direction. A young man grabbed the flying demonic spear with a face full of joy. I did it. The demonic spear of Apocalypse is mine now. The young man held a hand bone in his hand, and a powerful Taoist rhyme emanated from his body that resonated strongly with the demonic spear of Apocalypse. The resonance was even stronger than before. Taoist runes swirled in Chu Kuangren's eyes as he glanced at the young man. Zhao Wujin, the descendant of the former Supreme Demonic Honorable, the current disciple of the Chakra King of the Underworld Palace. He possesses the Supreme Demonic Physique and cultivates a sage technique. Chu Kuangren was surprised. The descendant of the Supreme Demonic Honorable? Looks like all sorts of monsters have popped up. Chu Kuangren remained calm despite the demonic spear being snatched away. On the other hand, the other demonic cultivators were extremely excited. Someone got the demonic spear. Who's that young man? Chu Kuangren said that he's the descendant of the Supreme Demonic Honorable. Is that true? The Taoist rhyme that emanated from him is the Supreme Demonic Physique, the same physique that the Supreme Demonic Honorable once possessed. Besides, I've seen the Supreme Demonic Honorable's portrait before, and it does bear some resemblance to this young man. Could it be that he was the one who destroyed the Mountain River sect for the demonic spear of Apocalypse? It seems like he succeeded. Who cares whose descendant he is? Now that the demonic spear is no longer in Chu Kuangren's hands, it'll be much easier to get it. Let's go. That's right. The Supreme Demonic Honorable is dead, so the demonic spear of Apocalypse is now ownerless. Even if the descendant of the Supreme Demonic Honorable wants it, he'll have to prove himself with his strength. If he can't keep it, he can't blame anyone else. The cultivators of the 3 demonic orthodoxies immediately changed their target. Chu Kuangren was too strong, so strong that even the demonic cultivators were helpless against him. With the demonic spear in his hands, the demonic cultivators had no hope at all. However, now that they had fallen into Zhao Wujin's hands, they felt that they could do whatever they wanted again. Chu Kuangren and the others could not do anything to them, but could they not do anything to them? Who dares to harm young master? Venerable Ku Teng suddenly stepped forward and said loudly. Regardless of whether it was for the demonic spear of apocalypse or Zhao Wuji's identity, he could not allow anyone to harm Zhao Wuji. You want the demon spear? You think you're worthy? Zhao Wujin held the demon spear of apocalypse in his hand, and the Taoist rhymes of the supreme demon body erupted. The aura he unleashed was not weaker than any of the battle monarchs present, as expected of the descendant of the demon lord. Truly extraordinary. Venerable Ku Ting praised. I say, aren't you guys looking down on me too much? At that moment, Chu Kuangren's figure appeared. Holding the descendant's self-sword in his hand, he took a step forward and arrived beside Zhao Wujin. With a ferocious slash, the domineering purple sword ray almost tore the void apart. Zhao Wujin held the demonic spear in his hand and fiercely attacked the sword light. The two forces collided and gave off a loud explosion. The terrifying force traveled along the long spear and directly shattered the bones in Zhao Wujin's arms. He let out a miserable howl and was sent flying backward, unable to hold on to the devil's spear. Come, try and see if you can take it away again. Chu Kuangren took the demonic spear that flew out and stabbed it into the ground. How can this be? Zhao Wujin was shocked. Even with the demonic spear of apocalypse, he could not block Chu Kuangren's sword attack. His hands trembled and drops of blood dripped down. He gritted his teeth and used his supreme demonic physique to activate the demon honorable's arm bone to resonate with the demonic spear. He wanted to take the demonic spear of apocalypse back again. However, it was useless. Under Chu Kuangren's powerful suppression, the demonic spear did not budge an inch. ***, the demonic spear is back in Chu Kuangren's hands again. There's no way we can take it back. Let's go. Chu Kuangren is too strong. Let's leave first. Some of the demonic cultivators suppressed their desire for the demonic spear and wanted to leave. However, they were met with an obstacle. What's going on? The spatial structure here has been changed. The demonic cultivators who wanted to leave were shocked. Not far away, Chu Kuangren sneered when he saw everything. Do you really think you can come and go as you please? The 9 Heaven Sword prison had sealed the world. How could it be that easy to leave? Ever since these demonic cultivators arrived, Chu Kuangren had no intention of letting them leave. He would not let any of them go. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. With a swing of the sacred sword, a sword ray that had been repeated countless times surged out. The Ashura sect's battle monarch leader was killed on the spot. He did not even have the time to scream. Chu Kuangren, spare my life. I'm willing to serve you as my master. I'll be your slave. The Euphoria sect's lady said tearfully. Her face was charming, and her eyes were captivating. Chu Kuangren looked up at her. You're such a slut. As soon as he said that, he swung his sacred sword. Under the lady's horrified gaze, the sword ray engulfed her without any resistance. Her body was instantly blasted into a bloody mess. We're no match for him. How can he be so strong? He's just one person, but we, 100,000 demonic cultivators, are helpless against him. How is this possible? On the battlefield, the demonic cultivators were in a state of panic. Honorable Ku Teng had also tried to escape, but even he could not break free from the 9 Heaven Sword prison and was trapped there. Left with no choice, he decided to fight Chu Kuangren with his life on the line. However, even an honorable could only take one more attack from him. With the fall of Honorable Ku Teng, the rest of the demonic cultivators became even more desperate. At that moment, cries of mercy and screams could be heard. However, Chu Kuangren was unfazed. With the sword of heaven above his head and a green lotus under his feet, he was surrounded by white lotuses. He looked like a high and mighty immortal. However, to these demonic cultivators, no one looked more like a demon than Chu Kuangren. No, I'll die if I stay here any longer. I must escape. Zhao Wujin was terrified. He quickly took out a talisman that was engraved with mysterious runes and tore it apart. A powerful surge of spatial Taoist rhyme erupted from the talisman and enveloped Zhao Wujin. In the blink of an eye, he broke free from the 9 Heaven Sword prison seal. Chu Kuangren was surprised when he noticed the spatial anomaly. Is this spatial energy? Is it some kind of spatial treasure? Chu Kuangren murmured. There were many spatial treasures in this world, and the most well-known one was a type of talisman known as the Great Shift Talisman. This type of talisman was extremely rare, and only the best talisman master could create it. Moreover, there were only a few talisman masters who could do so since ancient times. But it doesn't matter. He's just a small fry. I'll just kill him when I meet him in the future. Chu Kuangren ignored him. Not long after, Chu Kuangren killed the last few demonic cultivators with a wave of his hand. With that, the battle had officially come to an end. In the mountains, the corpses of the demonic cultivators were scattered all over the place like weeds. Broken limbs and blood flowed like rivers. It was a hellish scene that was hard to look at. In this hell, a peerless white-robed figure stood with a sword in hand. His ethereal aura was incompatible with the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood. Chapter 109. He did it. In the mountain river city, everyone witnessed how Chu Kuangren killed 100,000 demonic cultivators through the sky observation mirror. They were shocked beyond words. Then they were overjoyed. He did it. He did it. The 100,000 demonic cultivators are dead. The demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state has been resolved. Even if there are still demonic cultivators around, there's nothing to be afraid of. That's right, this is great. Brother Chu is truly a godly person. Countless people in the mountain river city worshipped Chu Kuangren to the point where some even knelt on the street and worshipped him like a god. It was just like how the White Lotus sage ruler had single-handedly saved the lives of billions of people in the southern kingdoms. Even now, her story was still passed down from generation to generation. It was the same for Chu Kuangren. His name would be remembered in the history books of the northern Lingdao state and be sung for generations to come. How is this possible? How did he do it? Compared to the ecstatic crowd, Ao Chang, Fang Tian, and the others looked terrible. They stared at the sky observation mirror with dissatisfaction. They had planned to strike only after Chu Kuangren failed, and they had prepared their men for that. But now, all their preparations were useless. Chu Kuangren had single-handedly killed 100,000 demonic cultivators. He had done something that they did not even dare to imagine. Among the crowd, a white-robed elder looked at Chu Kuangren through the sky observation mirror and exclaimed, "What an anomaly! What an anomaly!" At the other end of the mountain range, the battle between the seventh forefather and the others had yet to end. However, all of them had noticed that the battle between Chu Kuangren and the 100,000 demonic cultivators had ended. Has the battle stopped? It's over. Who has the demonic spear of apocalypse? Everyone could not wait to release their spiritual thoughts. However, when the scene at the other end of the mountain range appeared in their minds, everyone, including the Chakra King, was shocked. Amidst the mountains of corpses and a sea of blood, there was only a peerless white robe. Even the honorables could not help but be shocked by that scene. All the demonic cultivators are dead. How is this possible? The seventh patriarch and the other Tao protectors were also shocked. The densely packed corpses of the demonic cultivators were simply too frightening. Haha, as expected of the Black Heaven sect's lead disciple. You demonic cultivators must be dreaming if you think you can kill him. The seventh forefather laughed. Are you even worthy of killing the sage of my White Lotus school? As expected of Princess Linglong's husband. Both Supremacy Qinglan and the old woman were filled with pride as well. At that moment, Chu Kuangren, who was in the middle of the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, made another unexpected move. A strange Taoist rhyme emanated from his body, and the countless demonic cultivator corpses around him all turned into blood-colored light dots that surged towards him. Taotai art, unleash. Chu Kuangren absorbed a large amount of demonic cultivators' blood and flesh essences. His aura continued to rise. What kind of strange technique is this? He's going to break through the realm. He just experienced a great battle, and now he's going to break through, and he's even borrowing the power of 100,000 devil cultivators. Too terrifying. The experts from the 3 demonic sects were stunned. F***CK not only did you kill so many of us, you even want to use their corpses to break through your cultivation? That's too much. Just who was the demonic cultivator here? Why did they feel that Chu Kuangren was more of a demon than they were? Amidst the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, Lan Yu had already recovered most of his spiritual power. Seeing that Chu Kuangren was absorbing the demonic cultivator's blood and flesh essences, she stood by his side to protect him. At that moment, Chu Kuangren had activated the Taotai art to its limit, and the countless blood and flesh essences were continuously absorbed by him. If this technique were to be used recklessly, it would damage one's luck and karma. However, not now. That was because the 100,000 demonic cultivators were here to kill him. If he retaliated, he would not be tainted by karma, nor would his luck be damaged. A large amount of blood and flesh essences flowed through the Taotai dimension, flowing through his limbs and bones, converging at his spiritual mound, where they were converted into pure spiritual power. Chu Kuangren's aura continued to rise as he headed towards the battle monarch realm. A surge of Taoist rhyme shot into the sky and formed into an incomparably gorgeous golden crown with Taoist patterns flowing around it. Taoist beads formed on the crown, which was extremely mysterious. 1, 2, 3. In an instant, 7 Taoist beads formed on the crown. The 7-pearl crown. This was already the highest level of foundation. Many cultivators exclaimed in admiration. No, it's not enough. It's far from enough. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he accelerated the absorption of the blood and flesh essences around him. Countless corpses of demonic cultivators were disintegrated and dispersed into the surroundings. 100,000 demonic cultivators died without leaving behind any corpses. However, even after absorbing 100,000 demonic cultivators, the 7-pearl crown on top of Chu Kuangren's head did not show any signs of evolving. Chu Kuangren took out another half of a corpse. It was a headless corpse with Taoist patterns flowing around it and mysterious Taoist rhymes. It was the corpse of the Black Light Sage. Chu Kuangren activated the Taotai art and absorbed the sage's corpse as well. The majestic blood and flesh essences once again erupted. Another Taoist bead was formed. The 8-pearl crown. Not enough. Chu Kuangren then took out the boundary sage-grade supreme elixir that he had previously obtained and swallowed it into his stomach. As the supreme elixir took effect, Chu Kuangren's body radiated with endless divine radiance. The cultivators were stunned when they saw that. He just took out a boundary sage-grade supreme elixir, but he just ate it like that. F***CK, what a waste. A cow chewing on a peony, it's really a cow chewing on a peony. Countless cultivators were heartbroken. If a skilled alchemist were to refine a boundary sage-grade supreme elixir, there was a high chance that they could create a batch of boundary sage-grade pills. Even if they could not, refining it would be very beneficial for an honorable. It was even possible for them to break through a few small realms. However, Chu Kuangren just chewed it like that. How much medicinal power was wasted like that? Although he was not heartbroken, the others were sighing. However, Chu Kuangren did not care about that. With the help of the half-sage-grade corpse and the boundary sage-grade supreme elixir, the golden crown on his head finally formed the 9th Taoist bead. Supreme foundation level, 9-pearl crown. Rays of light scattered from the crown and enveloped Chu Kuangren. The experts who were watching from afar had complicated expressions on their faces. The 9-pearl crown. Throughout the past 150,000 years, only a handful of people had managed to do so. However, Chu Kuangren had done it in front of them. Not only that, but he had also formed a supreme Taoist foundation level, a supreme golden core, a supreme nascent soul, and a supreme purple palace realm. Now, with the addition of this crown, he had 5 supreme foundation levels. How terrifying would his combat strength be? The experts could not even imagine it. The Sky Prides felt even more hopeless. Slaying 100,000 demons before forming a supreme foundation level. Chu Kuangren is just too amazing. With him in this era, where will the other Sky Prides be? How sad. Chu Kuangren had officially reached the battle monarch realm. He was crowned king amidst a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Let's go! The rest of the demonic cultivators no longer held any hope for the demonic spear of apocalypse. One by one, they left the mountain range. The seventh forefather and the other two did not stop them and rushed towards Chu Kuangren instead. By then, the crown on Chu Kuangren's head had disappeared. However, within his spiritual mound, the 5 supreme foundation levels radiated brilliantly, causing Taoist rhymes to circulate around his body. He was like an immortal who was about to ascend. Little guy, you're amazing. Chapter 110. Kid, you're really something. The seventh forefather came before Chu Kuangren and praised him. The old lady and Honorable Qinglong were also pleased and impressed. Even the seventh forefather and the other two did not expect to kill 100,000 demonic cultivators. Not to mention that Chu Kuangren managed to forge a supreme battle monarch foundation level after killing 100,000 demonic cultivators. It was unbelievable. Chu Kuangren smiled and said, "After this battle, the demonic onslaught in northern Lingdao has been mostly resolved. The next step will be much easier." Not bad. However, I'm afraid the reputation of the other sage orthodoxies is going to be tarnished this time. Those Taoists will definitely be punished when they return. Honorable Qinglong smiled and said, "The demonic onslaught was a chance for the sage orthodoxies to train their sky prides, hoping that they could use this opportunity to raise their reputation. However, no one expected things to turn out this way. Chu Kuangren had taken all the limelight. It could even be said that he had single-handedly resolved the demonic onslaught. The sky prides of the other sage orthodoxies did not do much, but the people and cultivators of northern Lingdao could see that. Even if they did not say anything, the reputation of Jiang Valley, the sacred lands of serene wisdom, and the other sage orthodoxies would definitely be affected. They reap what they sow, Chu Kuangren said. If these people really wanted to help the people solve the demonic onslaught, things would not have turned out this way. After that, Chu Kuangren left the mountain range and returned to the mountain river city. In the city, countless people stood on both sides of the street. When Chu Kuangren entered the city, everyone looked at him with a fervent gaze. Chu Kuangren was shocked. Damn it, what's wrong with these people? He did not know that the Li family head had used the divine observatory mirror to promote him. "We thank Master Chu for your kindness." "Thank you, Brother Chu. Immortal's great kindness, we will never dare to forget it." The people and cultivators on both sides of the street were kneeling on the ground. Some of them addressed Chu Kuangren as a brother, while others called him master. To most people, Chu Kuangren was an immortal. The crowd was kneeling on the ground, and it was a spectacular sight to behold. Chu Kuangren was a little stunned by the scene. However, he still went forward to help the Li family patriarch and the mountain river Taoist up. "Everyone, there's no need to do this. Please get up. Fellow Taoist, you've helped northern Lingdao to resolve the demonic onslaught. This is a great favor that you deserve." Patriarch Li said. "It's my job," Chu Kuangren said. He dealt with the crowd. Not far away, Ao Chang and the others were filled with hatred and jealousy when they saw the revered Chu Kuangren. No matter where they were, as long as Chu Kuangren was around, they would all be relegated to the background. No one would notice them at all. This made them extremely aggrieved. No matter what, they were the geniuses of their respective orthodoxies. "Phew, I'm finally back." Chu Kuangren could not help but lament when he returned to his temporary residence. Just now, on the street, everyone was extremely friendly to him. Dealing with this group of people was probably not as tiring as killing 100,000 devil cultivators. The next day, Chu Kuangren yawned and stood up. As usual, he opened the fantasy roulette after brushing his teeth and washing his face. "It's been a while since I've gotten anything good. I hope I'll be lucky this time," Chu Kuangren thought. The roulette began to spin. "Congratulations, host, you've drawn a legendary item. Eternal Emperor's Scripture." "Huh." Chu Kuangren's body trembled. "F***ck me, I really got a legendary item. And it was an Emperor's Scripture. Emperor scriptures were similar to emperor techniques in that they were usually created by emperors. However, there was still a huge difference between the two. The latter referred to a certain technique, while the former referred to an emperor's understanding of the Tao. It could also include various techniques. For example, an emperor technique was a poem, while an emperor scripture was a book that taught people how to compose a poem. It could also include various types of poems. In terms of value, an emperor scripture was far more valuable than an emperor technique. Especially in this era where monarch inheritances were severed and even monarch techniques were extremely rare, monarch scriptures were unimaginably precious treasures. If this emperor scripture were to appear, the entire firmament star would be in chaos. None of the orthodoxies could resist such a temptation. The Eternal Emperor scripture was written by an eternal emperor. It includes the Tao Enlightenment section, the Emperor Technique section, the Alchemy section, the Runic section. Chu Kuangren looked at the introduction of the Eternal Emperor scripture. He could not wait to take this Emperor scripture out and study it. Studying an Emperor scripture is not child's play. I mustn't be impulsive. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Then, he began to familiarize himself with the power in his body. He had just ascended to the Battle Monarch realm yesterday and had even formed a supreme foundation like the Nine-Pearled Crown. He had to find some time to test it out. Besides the breakthrough in his cultivation, Chu Kuangren felt that his body had also changed. His immortal body had improved. He was originally in the first realm of the immortal body, but after he broke through to the Battle Monarch realm, he had now reached the second realm. Broken limbs rebirth. Originally, he could heal all kinds of injuries quickly. Now, even if he broke an arm or a leg, he could recover quickly. Chu Kuangren took out the Descendant Self-Sword and waved it around his arm and thigh, wondering if he should give it a try. After some thought, he gave up on the idea. After all, he did not have the tendency to hurt himself. In the dark, the three protectors looked at each other. They did not understand what Chu Kuangren was trying to do. What kind of person would use a sword to stab themselves in the back? "Master, there's a visitor." At that moment, Lan Yu knocked on the door and said, "All right, I'm coming." Chu Kuangren answered, put on his clothes and walked out. "Master, please wait a moment." Lan Yu suddenly called out to Chu Kuangren. She walked up to him and straightened his crooked collar. Then she looked at him and smiled in satisfaction. "It's done." "Damn, I didn't expect Lan Yu to have obsessive-compulsive disorder." Chu Kuangren laughed and then walked towards the great hall. He saw that the visitor was an old man in plain clothes. This old man's hair and beard were all white. Although he was wearing plain clothes, he had an extraordinary aura and demeanor. Chu Kuangren looked at him and activated the Eye of Revelation. The Divine Predictor, the sect leader of the Phantom Valley Physiognomy sect. He's an expert in the art of divination. He can foresee 500 years in the past and 300 years in the future. He's the #1 physiognomist in Firmament Star. Oh, it's him. Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat. The Divine Predictor was definitely a legend in Firmament Star. He was the #1 physiognomist in the world of physiognomy, and he was the one who predicted the reopening of the Emperor's path in this world. It was because of this person that this world was known as the era of great battles and gave countless cultivators the hope of becoming an emperor. Even an honorable supreme would have to show some respect to this person. Why would such a person come looking for me? "Greetings, Senior Divine Predictor." Chu Kuangren dared not delay and immediately stepped forward to greet him. "Oh, you already know who I am even before I tell you my identity. Could it be that Junior Chu also has the ability to predict the future?" The Divine Predictor said in surprise. "Senior, you must be joking. Everyone in Firmament Star knows about you, so it's not surprising that I know about you. May I know why you're looking for me, Senior?" Chu Kuangren asked curiously. I'm just curious." The Divine Predictor no longer cared about how Chu Kuangren knew about him. Chapter 111. Curious. Chu Kuangren was a little surprised. "I've traveled the world and seen all kinds of people. There are emperors, talented generals, and even sky prides, I ask myself, no matter who it is in front of me, even if it's that high and mighty saint, I can still see through it. However, you're an exception. At that, the divine predictor stared at Chu Kuangren with uncontrollable curiosity. You're an anomaly. I can't see your past or future. It's as if you don't exist in the river of time. It's too strange. Chu Kuangren frowned. He did not exist in the river of time? Was it because he was not a person of this world? Chu Kuangren had a strange feeling when he thought of that. I wonder if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. The divine predictor shook his head. But if I can't find your existence in the river of time, then all the Tao of divination will be useless to you. In a way, you don't have to worry that someone will use this against you. I guess this is a good thing. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded and did not think too much about it. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. Things like the river of time and karma were too difficult for him to comprehend. Thinking too much would hurt his head, so he might as well not think about it at all. Lan Yu, prepare some tea for our senior. Yes. Lan Yu poured a cup of tea for the divine predictor. The divine predictor glanced at Lan Yu and exclaimed, "This young lady is extraordinary. I'm afraid her future achievements will not be any weaker than the emperors of old." The divine predictor's words shocked the seventh forefather and the other protectors. No weaker than the emperors of old? What did that mean? It meant that she would at least become an emperor. Lan Yu could become an emperor in the future. F***ck. They knew that Lan Yu was talented and would not lose to any sky prides in this world, but they did not expect the divine predictor to praise her like that. Chu Kuangren was surprised too, but he smiled and said, "You're indeed my Lan Yu. You must protect me when you become an emperor." Lan Yu nodded seriously. "Whether I become an emperor or not, I will always follow you, master." To her, becoming an emperor was secondary. The most important thing was to stay by Chu Kuangren's side. Of course, if she could become an emperor, she would definitely be of great help to her master in the future. Chu Kuangren chuckled and continued his conversation with the divine predictor. Since the divine predictor was a big shot of this era, he would definitely know a lot of secrets. Chu Kuangren would take this opportunity to find out as much as he could. Unfortunately, every time Chu Kuangren asked a crucial question, the other party would tell him that the secrets of the heavens must not be revealed and shut him up. The fortune-teller's words were so vague that it made Chu Kuangren feel depressed. It is fate that brought us together. I will reveal a little bit. Actually, it is not really revealing. After all, this matter will soon be known by the whole world. Oh, please tell me, senior. About half a month later, the great Tao will manifest and give birth to 49 wisps of primordial Emperor's Qi. Those who obtain the Emperor's Qi will be able to increase their chances of becoming an emperor by comprehending the Emperor's Qi. The appearance of the primordial Emperor's Qi also indicates that the era of great battles has begun. Even the ancient geniuses who have been hibernating will awaken one by one. At that time, little friend Chu, I'm afraid you will have a worthy opponent. The divine predictor smiled faintly. The seventh forefather and the others secretly took note of his words and prepared to report back to the orthodoxies. This matter was related to becoming an emperor, so it was too important. I've heard of the primordial Emperor's Qi. Chu Kuangren pondered. If the primordial purple haze was the foundation of becoming a sage, then the primordial Emperor's Qi would be the foundation of becoming an emperor. It was extremely valuable. However, having the primordial Emperor's Qi did not mean that one would definitely become an emperor. It just meant that the chances of becoming an emperor were much higher than cultivators without the primordial Emperor's Qi. No matter what, the Emperor's Qi was much more valuable than the primordial purple haze. A single wisp of primordial purple haze was enough to attract all the orthodoxies to fight for it, let alone the primordial Emperor's Qi. Moreover, there were 49 of them. The era of great battles was too extraordinary. It's my fortune to obtain the Emperor's Qi, but it's my fate to lose it. As for the ancient geniuses you mentioned, if they're all like Ao Chang, I'm afraid they're no match for me. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Ao Chang might not even be able to withstand a single attack from him. As for the other ancient sky prides, no matter how strong they were, how strong could they be? As if sensing Chu Kuangren's disdain, the divine predictor said, Ao Chang wasn't the only ancient sky prides. Ao Chang lived 30,000 years ago, and the sky prides back then weren't that much stronger than those of this era. However, the older the sky prides are, the closer they are to the emperor's era, the more terrifying they are. Back then, they even possessed the complete emperor's inheritance. Those sky prides are incomparable to the ones we have now. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. Then I'm looking forward to it. I hope it won't disappoint me too much. Although the divine predictor hid a lot of things from Chu Kuangren, the information he revealed was still shocking enough. At least, the seventh forefather and the other protectors were shocked. After sending off the divine predictor, the seventh forefather and the other two walked out from the void. Half a month later, the great Tao will manifest, and 49 streams of Xianhuang Emperor Qi will be born. This is no small matter. We must report this back to the orthodoxy, and let the sect leader and the others prepare early. The seventh forefather said solemnly. All right, then send a message to Master and the others. Also, tell them that I'll be returning to the Black Heaven sect in a few days. Maniac Chu said. The seventh forefather asked in surprise, Little guy, you're not going to train anymore? No, there's nothing left to train. Chu Kuangren shook his head with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. None of the sky prides in this world can withstand a single sword attack from me. What else is there to train for? The seventh forefather and the other two looked at each other, the corners of their mouths twitching. Perhaps only Chu Kuangren would say something like that. However, no one could refute it. This was especially true now that he had advanced to the battle monarch realm. Putting aside geniuses, even a venerable might not be able to withstand a single strike from him. The seventh forefather felt that it would not be long before Chu Kuangren no longer needed their protection. At that thought, they were extremely shocked. How long had it been since he entered the world? How could he have reached such a level? 2 days later, the demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state was almost over. Throughout the process, the cultivators that Chu Kuangren sent out did not encounter any obstacles. Once the news of him slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators got out, not just the northern Lingdao state, but every demonic cultivator in the world was scared out of their wits. Who would dare to come to the northern Lingdao state? As for those who were still in the northern Lingdao state, they wished that their parents had given them an extra pair of legs so that they could leave this place as soon as possible. Slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators? Was this something that a young junior could do? This is too scary. This Chu Kuangren is too scary. D***, we can't stay in this state any longer. This demonic onslaught was basically solved by Chu Kuangren alone. What a monster! The demonic cultivators were terrified, the righteous cultivators were in awe, and the common people respected Chu Kuangren as if he was a god. Even in Mountain River City, some scholars had begun to write books about Chu Kuangren. As for the mountain range where Chu Kuangren slaughtered 100,000 demonic cultivators, many people called it the Weeping Demon Mountain. It meant the place where the demonic cultivators cried. Some people in the later generations had read about it. Chapter 112. In the Black Heaven sect, Honorable Xianxia and the others had long received news of Chu Kuangren's impending return, so they were waiting for him with a group of elders. Apart from them, the 100,000 disciples of the Black Heaven sect were also looking forward to it. Say, eldest senior brother has only been in the world for less than half a year. How can he be back so soon? This is way too fast. What kind of person is eldest senior brother? Although he's only been in the world for half a year, he's already known to the world. Why would he still need to train? That's true. Eldest senior brother is really amazing. Is too strong. I'm so looking forward to it. I just joined the Black Heaven sect and haven't seen eldest senior brother yet. I really don't know what he looks like. Little junior sister, I guarantee that after you meet eldest senior brother, no other man will be able to enter your eyes. The disciples discussed fervently as they looked in the direction of the Black Heaven sect's mountain gate. Gradually, a black dot approached from afar. Upon closer inspection, it was a group of immortal boats. The ferry boat stopped in front of the Black Heaven Sect's mountain gate. A white-robed young man walked down from the leading ferry boat, followed by a lady in a long skirt. These two people were Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu. As for the other ferry boats, they were carrying Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others who had gone to northern Lingdao to eliminate the demonic onslaught. Now they had returned triumphantly. Eldest senior brother has returned. Heavens, eldest senior brother really has the bearing of an immortal. Eldest brother, I love you. Some of the disciples who had just joined the Black Heaven sect saw Chu Kuangren for the first time, and they were all amazed and mesmerized by him. When the other disciples saw this, their expressions were as if they had expected it. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Taoist Jun Yi walked out and said loudly with cupped hands. When the others saw this, they quickly followed suit and bowed. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Welcome, eldest brother. All of a sudden, 100,000 disciples cheered in unison. Their voices were so loud that it could even be heard in the clouds. It was evident that Chu Kuangren's prestige in the Black Heaven sect was high. Chu Kuangren smiled at the crowd before he walked up to Honorable Xianxia, Elder Rian, and the others and greeted them with a fist salute. Greetings, Master, Elder. Kuangren, you don't have to be so courteous. You've worked hard on this trip to the northern Lingdao state to slay demons and defend the righteous path. Honorable Xianxia stepped forward and said in a gratified manner. He had heard about Chu Kuangren slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators. Even among the honorable cultivators of the older generation, there were not many who could achieve such a feat. It must be said that although Chu Kuangren was still young, the things that he had done had already surpassed most of the cultivators in the world. It's nothing. It's part of my job. Chu Kuangren chuckled. His trip to the northern Lingdao state, whether it was killing 100,000 demonic cultivators to break through to the battle monarch realm, obtaining the demonic spear of apocalypse, or increasing the prestige of the Black Heaven sect, it was a worthwhile trip for him. After a welcoming ceremony, Honorable Xianxia pulled Chu Kuangren aside and said, "What do you think about the primordial emperor's essence?" The seventh forefather had already informed Honorable Xianxia about what Tianjizi had told him. The primordial emperor's essence is similar to the primordial purple qi. It's a treasure that can help one become an emperor. However, just like the primordial purple qi, relying on it to become an emperor is the lowest tier in the emperor realm. But that's still an emperor. Honorable Xianxia was amazed. An emperor? There hasn't been an emperor for 150,000 years, but why do I feel like you don't care about it at all? Chu Kuangren shrugged and said innocently, Honorable teacher, you said it yourself. That's an emperor we're talking about. How could I not care about it? It's just that I don't want to rely on the primordial emperor's essence to become an emperor. You're confident that you can become an emperor by yourself? This is an era where the great Dharma emergence takes place. Most of the emperors of old became emperors with their own strength, so why can't I do the same? Ha Kuangren, it's great that you have the courage to compete with the emperors of old, but the primordial emperor's essence is also a rare treasure that you must fight for. Even if you take 10,000 steps back, this is still a way out, isn't it? Honorable Xianxia laughed. It was not that he did not believe in Chu Kuangren, but it was too difficult for him to become an emperor by himself. Although it was the great Dharma emergence, if he did not succeed, the primordial emperor's essence would ensure that he would not fall behind. Fight for it? I didn't say that I won't fight for it. Chu Kuangren said. Although he did not plan to rely on the primordial emperor's essence, it was still a good choice to take back such a treasure, be it for his collection or for others to use. By the way, honorable teacher, I plan to go into closed-door meditation for a while. Alright, go ahead. You've just broken through to the battle monarch realm not too long ago, so you do need to go into closed-door meditation to stabilize your cultivation. Honorable Xianxia did not mind. He felt that with Chu Kuangren's ability, he would be able to stabilize his cultivation in a few days. However, he did not know that. Chu Kuangren's closed-door meditation this time was not to stabilize his cultivation, but to gain insight into the eternal emperor scripture that he had obtained a few days ago. Inside the towering heaven palace, Lil Bing was ecstatic to see Chu Kuangren. "Master, you're finally back. Lil Bing missed you so much." "Oh, Lil Bing, you've improved quite a bit." Chu Kuangren noticed that Lil Bing's cultivation level had reached the nascent soul realm. Even among the true disciples, she would be a top-notch expert. After all, when she first arrived, she was not even a golden core realm cultivator. This is all thanks to the spiritual gathering formation in the Taoist palace. "Otherwise, I wouldn't have improved so quickly," Lil Bing said. "It's all thanks to your own hard work." Chu Kuangren laughed. After catching up with Lil Bing for a while, he went into closed-door meditation. Inside the Taoist palace's room, Chu Kuangren took out a light yellow thread-bound ancient book. There was a faint Taoist rhyme on the book, and the words, "Eternal Emperor Scripture," were written on it. An emperor's aura roared out. How terrifying! It was just a thin booklet, but Chu Kuangren felt like it weighed millions of pounds, as if he was carrying a mountain. The emperor's aura put Chu Kuangren's Taoist core under unimaginable pressure, and he could not help but want to kneel and kowtow. F***ck me, without a certain level of strength, I'm afraid it's difficult to even read this emperor's scripture. Chu Kuangren channeled his spiritual power, and the 5 supreme foundation levels in his spiritual mound all radiated with divine light to resist the aura. After a while, Chu Kuangren gradually familiarized himself with the aura, and he used all his strength to flip to the first page of the emperor's scripture. In an instant, countless mysterious characters came into view and intertwined in Chu Kuangren's mind, forming into a white-robed young man with dashing eyebrows and starry eyes. His body emanated an endless emperor's aura. The young man's lips opened and closed as if he was chanting some kind of wisdom. A strange epiphany appeared in Chu Kuangren's mind. At that moment, his understanding of the Tao was rising crazily. He knew that the person in front of him was the eternal emperor, and the words he was chanting were the emperor's Tao epiphany. This was a great opportunity for any cultivator who had yet to become an emperor. Chu Kuangren dared not delay and immersed himself in his Tao epiphany. Taoist cultivators did not know the passage of time. Soon, half a month had gone by. While Chu Kuangren was in closed-door meditation to understand the emperor's scripture, a series of major events happened in Firmament Star. All over Firmament Star, there were earthquakes, tsunamis, and natural disasters of varying degrees. The ancient sky prides who were in deep slumber had finally awakened in this great Dharma emergence era. You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.